Okay, all right. Can you introduce yourself for the folks? Had to, had to sync up the audio. I had to sync up the audio, so when I dice it,
No
just makes it
worries.
easier.
Alright. Hi guys, I'm Skye from Team Silver King, and this is a coaching session with Nightwing, right?
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, Nightwing. So, for today's session, I saw that you wanted to know more about fundamentals and how to improve generally, right?
Yeah, so I'm not really too hell bent on making like Garp great like that. I'll figure that out as I become better. But if you could just help me like become just a smarter, more intelligent player, it'd be useful. Like last night, I was playing at the locals. I have a game shop, so I like to play in my locals, and I was going against a guy, and he was rocking Whitebeard, and he had maybe 7 cards in hand, like 5 active Don, and I had a full board of characters. And I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna use my 2 cost Garp to kill off his lower character, kill this other character, right? He has no characters left. I have Borsalino on the field, and just put the remaining Don under Smoker, 7K Smoker, and just swing for that and just drain his hand of all his counters. Well, what I should have done, what he agreed, and then the guy said next to him was like, I should have just went 6, 6, 6, 7, and then the remainder because he would have had to drain out all of his counters. And I was like, oh, didn't even think of that. So yeah, I need that. Help me.
All right. Okay. So, I don't really know what the board state was or what the game state was, right? But I think what I could hear from that was that I think that right usually versus Newgate or Whitebeard leader, right? You always try to extract a little bit more value instead of always attacking for one big attack. Mainly because their deck runs so many 2k counters, right? That if sometimes you swing for 1k counter, they will always give you 2, which means that you are always swinging for 1 extra Dawn. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And when their hand is on a limited amount, right? So let's say maybe their hand is like 4 and they have like 3 active Dawns. That means that most of the time their hand, half of the time, right, it's half of them are counters, which also means that if you swing for 1k counter, they might give you a guard point, which means that you just earn 2k counter out of that for no reason at all. But in retrospect, would be like, let's say if you gave all of your dons to your leader and swing for 15, he could just radical beam, and then guard point, which he would have enough instead of going for 1k counter by 1k counter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so only, but it's only versus Newgate.
Okay.
Like you will be in this very very niche scenario, right? Where swinging for in our books if you read swinging the sharks would be like for 1 card by 1 card by 1 card. Where sometimes like let's say if you always attack for 3k counter, it's always 2 cards because it's 1 by 2, right?
Okay.
But only versus Newgate because their resources are quote unquote limited, since that every turn they do draw an extra card from their life, right?
Right.
If their hand is to a substantial amount where you can always attack for 1 card, 1 card, 1 card, right? It would mean so much more compared to other decks. Only versus Newgate.
Okay.
But there will be situations where if you fight other decks, right, that these kind of situations will happen as well. Just that only versus Newgate, it will be more highlighted. It's more obvious that they do not have enough per attack. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, because he had to drop like the 3 cost 3K promo Luffy that goes to like 7,000, and that should have been like a sign there when he had to play a 2K counter card for his offense that he was slacking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but generally that's how you tackle against Newgate lah. If not, you try to buy yourself another turn, because this goes into what do you call it your win conditions. I understand that in One Piece usually you make your deck around your own win condition, right? So a good example would be Zoro. You go white, your board goes really really wide, and then
Okay.
the late game your juice is Newgate, right? Newgate on 9. So that's obviously your win condition. But versus right, red Newgate, Ever Newgate, right, the deck, right? Their win condition, it's not about killing you or about playing down their own Newgate. It's more about they have to survive. Their game plan is to survive.
Right.
If they can survive, if they outlast you, right, essentially means that they will win. Because all they need to do is don't die. I know it
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
very,
Okay.
very,
Yeah.
it sounds very stupid, right? Like every deck is just don't die, right? But Newgate especially is that if they don't die, they will eventually win you because their attacks are bigger, and their leader is 6k, which means that every attack is already a 1k discount. So their win condition is so fixated on just surviving itself compared to other decks that if you can always buy another turn versus Newgate, right, you will always want to. And since I think you've been playing a lot of black decks, right, you will know that they have trouble clearing like Borsalino, and in OBO3 they have trouble clearing what's the card called Fukuoka, the owl 3 mana 3K blocker that cannot be KO'd.
Oh yeah, the dude with the big head.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So in OBO3, cards like this, right, really get to stall the game versus Newgate. So the tip I can give you is like maybe like in the later turns, right, where they don't expect it, you just play out like Borsalino into double of those blockers, then suddenly they can't kill you, which essentially means that they'll be dead, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how you should play around. So for One Piece, right, it's not always about your own win conditions. It's also you have to take apart that they have their own win conditions, and most of the time it's more about trying to not let them get there. Does that make sense?
So not let them get to what they need
Their
to
own win conditions are something. Cause okay, I understand that maybe versus Zoro, their win conditions, like I said, is to play Newgate, right? But it's not something we can control. If
Right.
they don't draw it, then sure we are ahead. So the decks that have these kind of win conditions that we can control of, then we should try to take advantage of it. So like maybe for versus black, right? Your win condition obviously in theory is to always clear my board,
Yeah.
right? Okay, but I cannot guarantee or I cannot like tell myself that you have games that you cannot clear my board because you drawing Sakazuki, you not drawing Kobe's, these kind of cards. It's not within your opponent's control. It's all onto your own it's to your own strength, right? If you don't
Yeah.
draw the cards that can KO anything, you are doomed.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
And so that's the thing about black is that you cannot just tunnel on the fact that you have to KO stuff. Okay, your win condition usually it's not only one thing. Usually it's always like one or two so that you can play to your outs.
Okay.
Unless your deck is Nami Nami's only win condition if it's built to it is to mill your own deck, right?
That's fair.
If you
That's
know.
fair, yeah.
But from every other deck, there's always another win condition, which is what I'll be going through with you lah, which is usually it's more of a tempo oriented win condition. So this is okay. So I'm just gonna tell you why Garp's not really good. Mainly because of the set win condition that I can share with you lah.
Okay.
Okay, so I think from your previous coaching video that I watched, the whole sharing of I already I mean, he asked you what was your win condition so forth, right? It's more of trying to clear the board, right?
Yeah.
You want to take advantage of that. You clear the board and so on and so forth, and then after that, once the board is clear, you try to go for game, and then eventually you win, right? That's all in theory, right? It sounds really really nice, right?
Yeah. It sounds fantastic. Yeah. Until I run out of cards to
Right.
to start KO and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so right, to not like how to say make fun of you lah. Okay, yes, if you can also at the start of OBO3, we also thought Garp was great, right? You have like all the tools you need. You have a pistol. You have like Brooks to give the rested dons. You have Namis to give the rested dons, and then the Garp's just gonna clear the board. Simple, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Simple.
What a dream. Unfortunately, the synergy between black and red is just too underwhelming for the deck to be very good.
Fair enough.
So, like how to put it, like cards like okay, black's a deck that reduces their cost, right?
Yes.
But red's a deck that reduces their powers. So this is the synergy that they don't have. That's the first thing. The second thing, obviously, it's the fact that you cannot play a card and KO another card without losing out resources. So what I'm trying to say is like cards
Yeah.
like Kobe, cards like Sakazuki, you always have to discard one card. And let's say you are not playing a dual color leader. What if you were playing mono black? Mono black already has this issue, right, where you don't have enough cards to discard to bomb their stuff already. So if you're playing a mono leader, you have 5 life essentially. If you were to take all these 5 life, means that put it into perspective is that these 5 cards, right, in your shield, right, will always add into your hand. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now you're playing Garp. You're at 4. Means that you're already starting off the game with 1 less card.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
also means that you have 1 less card to discard essentially, and 1 less card to count out for yourself. So that's one of the bigger issues with Garp is that their win condition clear the board, but we already have issues reaching there. And like I said, you don't have the tempo you want. So for example, like Kobe, right? If I want to play down Kobe and I want to take back the tempo, which means that I develop a body and I also clear the board, but I have to discard 1 card.
Yeah.
If I was gonna do that, then I might as well play mono black leaders because I will have the availability of 1 more card compared to like this dual leader thing. Because as a dual leader, right, you need to have benefits of both colors lah, I would say. So a good example would be Law. Why Law has so much success compared to like other dual leaders. I'm not saying like Garp is like the worst. It's more of like there hasn't been any success for any other dual leaders apart from Law. Mainly because the
Yeah.
synergy for Law, right, red and green, right, is so insane that they can do whatever they want
Yeah.
until the meta seems fit, lah. Which is exactly what I've been seeing, like if you have been keeping up with how the meta has been. But okay. So I know I've been berating Garp, but I think maybe we can try to
I still
improve the deck in
believe.
general.
I still believe, and I still believe. So, like, what I've since then, and since going to like some larger tournaments, what I've realized was I was just playing wrong. Right. So this was one guy, Diego, and he got top 34 at like, oh yeah, top 32. Yeah, top 32. And when I talked to him, he was like, he prioritizes the 5 drop, 5 cost,
Smoker.
7,000 smoker. And now that because when I had him in there at first, but I just always considered him just a discard. Like it was a never good time to play him, never good time to play him, never good time to play him. But now that I've started to prioritize putting him on the board, like as soon as I get the 5 or 6 down, like putting him on the board, I've noticed it really helps swing the game in my direction because even though my opponent is sitting maybe on 4 or 5 life at the moment, I can easily get down one of their characters to a cost of 0 and then swing into life. Then they take the 2 life quick. And then if I have it in hand, like a meteor volcano, I can just drop that to kill that character. I've done it. I did it with Edward Newgate, right? He had Edward Newgate on the field. I knocked him all the way down to a cost of 0. Had Smoker stacked up. Smoker swung into life for like 11 or 13. They took the 2 life, and then I dropped Meteor Volcano to kill the Newgate. But I've noticed since prioritizing him in the deck, my focus isn't as much on like just destroy the board. Obviously, I still like the game plan, right? To still take their board out. But after talking to Diego, he was like, just wait a little bit on releasing Kobe. Don't play him so early, and then prioritize the smoker because now with the prioritization of the smoker, that double attack hits and it really becomes like a body they need to get rid of. So I think I've got 2 win conditions now with Garp. I got 2, clear the board, and then just double attack life.
Play for tempo, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so that's what I mean by the second win condition is that most decks you always want to have tempo, right?
Okay.
You always want to develop something on the board, and then you don't really want to, how I put it, like for black decks you don't really always want to focus on clearing the board. A very good example would be Smoker lah. If there are gameplays of smokers online, I'm not too sure, but if you are actually going to watch those games, right, their gameplays usually it's not really how many Sakazukis they draw or how many Kobis they draw unless matchup specific. It's more of the time if they can develop their bodies safely. So there are some smoker lists that are really greedy, they play the 10 cost Kuzans, right? So if the boss state reaches a stage where they get to play like 10 cost Kuzan into another 10 cost Kuzan, then most of them they are winning. But
Yeah.
obviously they will know like the weakness of black decks is that the early game, right, they cannot really withstand early aggression, which is one of the reasons why like they will try to take away that win condition from them lah, obviously. So this is what I mean by dual win conditions. Most of the time, One Piece at the moment, it's all about tempo. If you can always develop a strong turn, a turn that they cannot answer, like what you said, 5 cost smoker. It's a card that people cannot deal with, right? Even if they want to Sakazuki, they can't because it cannot be KO'd.
Yeah.
And it's such a threat on the board that if they leave it on the board, if they let it double break, then like suddenly they are on the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are all things you need to take note, especially when you're into deck building. But deck building wise, I think at the moment for Garp, like okay, like I said, I don't really want to like berate on it, but even with OPO4, I'm not sure whether you're on Japanese Twitter lah, but there was this hype for like the what is it called, Snake Man Luffy, the 7 cost Luffy.
Yes. The one that gets to do like the double attack or restand himself or something. Yeah.
So they all theorize there's this OTK thing, right, where they jumbe the thing, then they King Kong gun, like double King Kong gun and like triple King Kong gun, and then it swings like twice to like triple break, quadruple break. No, I think only can double break. So you just double break once and then swing again, and then if you have 2 on the board, essentially means it's always lethal. That's all in the theory. And then now in OPO4 testing, it's just gone. The deck's not It's not a real thing. Yeah, so even with like newer synergies, right? I don't think at the moment lah. I'm sure like they will have time to shine. It's just at the moment it's not there yet.
Fair enough.
But yeah, but you wanna share me your screen so that maybe we can talk about your list, and then maybe we can try to like maybe I can try to understand why you're playing certain cards, so on and
Oh
so
yeah,
forth.
definitely, definitely. So you can see the greatness. He can see the greatness that's Garp. He's like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Okay, yeah, okay, I gotcha. All right, let me see. So let me go ahead and let's see, share
So I
screen. Oh, let me.
I love up two man, but
Garp's godly. I understand. Like not everybody sees it, but he's a god among men. He's a god. Because for me, it's just the ability to constantly have access to the what black needs is the cost reduction. Having the ability just to constantly do that to me is fantastic. All right, let's
right.
see this.
It's like if Garp was a mono black leader, then that would be insane. You
I've
know what
been
I mean?
telling people that the whole if Garp was mono black, everybody would be like, "Oh, this guard's amazing," but they say, "Oh,
Yeah.
since he's not mono black, that's what's so bad." And I've run into people that actually play him as like a mono black card or as a mono black leader, and I'm like, "Okay, cool. You know, that's one way to do it." Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, like I've seen it done. That's it. That's one way to do it.
What's the top right card? 2K counter is it?
Oh, Suru.
There's an alternate art.
Oh yeah, so
So that's
I put all the alternate arts in here.
no, I didn't know she had an alternate art. Wait.
It probably comes out. It's probably one of the ones that comes out like later as a
That's damn cool.
yeah.
Alright. Okay, you want to share with me your deck ratios?
All right,
Like
so
why are you running? Yeah.
not a problem. Okay, so why does it look like this? Oh, no, things are weird. Hold on, where is it at? Let's go here. What's it? Okay, here we go. So you can see that you can see everything still.
Yep.
All right, so we have the man himself, and also I'm getting a custom made mat of me as Garp because, yeah,
Oh shit.
yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Bartomilio, so he's probably gonna get swapped out for that the black one that can't be destroyed for 3. I put in 2 new gates, 2 of the Shanks. Now Shanks, my newest addition, but I like them because I'm running so many of the two cost counters. Playing Shanks, if I'm on turn 10, right, or just turn whatever it is where I have 10 on, playing Shanks, I don't feel I still have 2 up for something. I like that. I just like it. Plus, it's a 1,000
Okay.
counter. Having 3 of the Kuzans here, 4 Kobes, 2 Sakazukis, 4 Surus, 4 Impacts, 3 Volcanoes, 2 Radical Beams. Essentially, if I get the new gate, that way if I drop new gate on the turn with Tendon, I still have the 1 up just in case I need it. Red Hawks, 5 cost Garp, Smoker, Garp, Borsalino, and then Great Eruption. Obviously, I need the Great Eruption I need Great Eruption, Suru, and Kuzan, of course, to bring down larger characters. But I find Great Eruption is just a lot easier to get that off. Plus, the draw makes it pretty simple. Yeah, you
Okay.
copying his deck list? He's copying the deck. He knows it's fire. He knows it's fire.
Okay.
He knows it's great.
Okay. Looking at the list, right, from the get go, right, I think I have one issue.
Okay.
Okay. I think for me the biggest issue in the deck now is that a lack of 2K counters.
So I
When
cut down on I had who was in here? Tashigi, I had her in here. But I cut a couple of the 2K counters down for these counters because I was like
events, right?
I get the boost and I also get to kill something, for the most part.
Alright. So okay, so if you are running cards like what you call it, Red Hawk, right? You have to understand that which matchups you're running into that you need the Red Hawk. So how I see it is like maybe you fight Zoro, right? You might think that the Red Hawk will be useful, right? But most of the time, people do play around it, and it's quite
Yeah.
an easy play around.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. So the only good matchup for Red Hawk will be like for Law, and I think it's too niche of a matchup for you to tell yourself that you much rather want to run Red Hawk than another 2K counter, for example.
Okay.
And because okay, so if you were to look at the deck list as a whole, right, uh, So for deck, this is something for deck building lah. If anyone wants to make decks, generally right, we want to keep our cards that don't have counters right to a minimum lah, so that we don't break often. Even like especially when our deck is only has 4 life. So usually we don't count cards like counters right to have to be considered bricks, because if we draw it we can always leave Dawn up to use, right?
Okay.
But if you were to count cards that don't have counters, right, your deck has let me count, 2 Newgate, 3 Smoker, 7 with Garp, plus 3, 10, Sakazuki is 12. And then we have triple volcanic eruption and the feast, right?
Yeah.
That's 18. Okay. To put you into perspective, my OPO1 Kaido deck only has 16 deck cards.
You said
And
16?
yeah, 16. And because I have to run Onigashima. So let's say if I'm not running Oni, right, means that I'm only playing 12, like cards that I want to play out. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only reason why I have 16 is because I have to squeeze in 4 deck cards, because if not, why am I playing purple, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say, is that even as like a very, very heavy cost deck, right, I'm trying to cut counters, because I will never want to be in a position where the guy is swinging me for 1k counter and my hand is 6, and I'm just looking at my hand of like smokers and Newgates and like, shit, I wish these were 1k counters, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've felt that like once or twice. Once or twice, been like, God damn it, I just need something.
And I think that's that's a very, very bad feeling, right? Especially when you go to locals, or even if you go to bigger events, you just, oh shit, like I lost because I'm short 1. But maybe because it's the ratios in the deck, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Personally, for me, I feel that that's the first thing I will take note of, which is the number of 2k counters. There are specific decks that don't necessarily run more than 8, but usually most decks run about 8 to 12.
Okay.
Like decks like Ace. Ace doesn't need to run so many 2k counters, because events are 1k counters, you know what I mean?
Right.
If they don't have bricks. Their bricks are 1k counters.
Yeah, which is insane.
So that's the first thing I've taken note of, is that I feel the deck's lacking 2k counters.
Okay.
Okay, then the next thing would be, okay, I like the fact that you're putting in Shanks because we are putting in 2k counter events, right?
Yeah, so
Like we're not putting
when I
in
run
Shanks
into
because
it,
oh, yeah, never mind. So the reason why we're putting in Shanks because it feels better when we have 2 dons up.
yeah,
Right.
it gives me that option just to drop him, because obviously at this point in time in the game, I may not be up 3-4 life. You know, I may be down to 2 or 1. So dropping him and then still having this is a safety net feels great. Because one of the things I feel like I run into a lot is I have to think twice. I want to drop like these larger bodies, because I'm like, there's so much more I can do during my turn. Like if I wanted to, let's say just with Shanks, right? I can drop a Kuzan or drop 2 Kuzan to get 2 draws, you know, or play a Kobe and then also on the same turn probably play a Garp or a Smoker or something like that, and then have Dawn up for something I need to. So that's one of my things, like larger, because I played the deck with the largest card was Sakazuki, and it was cool. It's just like sometimes you run to that point where you just need a big body, like 10,000, just deal with it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where just, how are you going to deal with this 10,000 body? But sometimes I don't like playing them. I'm like, it's just too much Dawn wasted in one turn.
Okay, with that in mind, right? If we have reason to take out Red Hawk, means that we have reason to cut Shanks, right?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, so we'll take out the Red Hawks. I mean,
Okay.
Red Hawk is so good off life. Like that minus 10,000 saves me. But then maybe that's the thing. I shouldn't get myself in a situation where I need saving from a random number. So okay.
Yes, exactly. So that okay. So that's a very good point. Is that if it comes out from the trigger, right? It's like, wow, it's so insane, right? We buy off ourselves one more turn, but we also have to take into account that our leader is 4 health.
Yeah.
Which means that we have 1 less life to play around that thing. So it's less efficient for us to want to play around the trigger. That's how I see it. Because that's the only good use for. Most of the time, if we keep it in our hand, most of the time it's not as useful as what we deem it to be lah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And if we are lacking counters, right, what I would up the count for would be a radical beam.
So
I think as a
dual.
Yeah, I think as a dual color leader, right, if you really missing counters or you're missing event counters for 4k, right, you always want to cap out radical beam. As you can see from Whitebeard decks, it's quite a busted card. It's quite overtuned for 4K counters. Like
Yeah.
in comparison to Shockwave or in comparison to maybe what you call it, Blast Breath, they all have a cost. It's something that they have to pay for. But for Radical Beam, there's no cost. It's just one mana, one don 4K. So if I'm really missing counters, I'll probably up Radical Beam. Alright. I think that's the few things that I'll take note. Okay. From the get go, right? I think 4 cost Kuzan is a 4, and Sakazuki should be a 4 as well.
Okay. All right. So,
Um, because I also think that these cards are a little bit overtuned compared to your other cards. Um, but if I ever have to make space, right, it's always cutting Kuzan because I feel that okay. So here's my take on why I think Kuzan should be maxed out. It's similar to the reason why we are playing the what's it called, the Eruption Feast.
yeah.
The 1 mana minus 2K. Okay. You've understand the use of this card, right? It cycles 1 and it decreases cost. Most of the time we're using it to either cycle or decrease, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like just praying like we have the decrease so that we can actually pop something off the board. But if you were to compare it to Kuzan, right? Most of the time won't really want to rather see Kuzan than like we would much rather want to have Kuzan on the board so that we can activate our like Kobis and our Sakazukis
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
in
Yeah.
comparison to the feast lah. That's how I see it because in One Piece, right, one Don essentially means that either you're swinging for 1K counter more, or you have 1K counter up to leave to counter. You know what I'm trying to say?
For something like
So
rap,
with
yeah.
yeah, so with that in mind, right, you have to understand that actually cycling for one Don might be detrimental for you in the long run. So in comparison to Kuzan, if I'm playing so many like the Great Eruptions, right, then I will much rather also try to max out Kuzan because I feel that it's a piece of the deck that I cannot live without.
I see.
I feel
Okay.
that any black deck, right, that I try to pop stuff off the board, if I don't have Kuzan, right, I feel a bit crippled. I don't have the ability to just pop anything whenever I want. And it will be so much pressure, does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So like let's say you're playing against a Red Zoro and you have the privilege to play down Kuzan before his Newgate turn. He will probably feel too pressured because if he plays down Newgate on tempo and then he's facing down a Kuzan, right? If you have Sakazuki in the hand, that Newgate's getting popped.
Yeah. He's yeah. Yeah.
So I would much rather have that option to pressure our opponent than to not have it, you know what I mean? And similar for Sakazuki, the reason why I can't play a black deck without Sakazuki because I feel that the whole deck revolves around Sakazuki. If not Sakazuki, it's probably Garp, like the 5 cost Garp.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Because I've always looked at least for for Garp, the most powerful card to me is always this Garp, the 2 costs, because like he can pop and KO anything
Oh,
under
this Garp,
under 7.
this Garp is the strongest Garp in the deck.
Yeah, like just the ability just to come out and just essentially just
Yeah.
a Nico Robin, but for whatever you got, and that's why I really love like the leader because using this plus this, whatever you have, I'm killing it. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm killing it, and especially if I donned it up enough to take out. Let's say you had a 7 cost character, and I gave him 7 don, and I attack something that has that you have rested that has 5,000 like damage. I'm killing that and killing the other card with just one swing essentially, and just crippling your board is what what I like to prioritize. But him being a 2 cost counter, obviously, you don't really want to drop him too much because I only have like the couple. Yeah. 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 I've run into that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, that's definitely, yeah, no, that's definitely a thought. That's why, like I said, I used to have Tashigi in here for that reason. Yeah, this one, I had her in there for that reason. But also to help, because where Great Eruption is now, she was in the place. Because I would have four of her because I can use her to drop down -2. But I found like in a pinch, being able to drop the two for the one, like for the one Don, made things a little bit easier for me to bring down larger characters. And like if I could, I would try and develop her early. So if I knew the next turn they were bringing out Newgate, then I would play her and then have her just waiting there. So when they brought out Newgate, they're like, oh wow, okay, then I can rest and kill. Yeah. Okay, let's give her a shot. Yeah, fair. Yeah. Okay. Oh, nope, nope, not smoker. Mm-hmm.
If you were to play the meta, it's either you play the meta or the anti-meta, right?
Okay.
But for One Piece, right, I feel
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's fair. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he is godly. Yeah, like
okay.
I try not to live in the future too heavy, because like I gotta win now. You know
Isn't
what I
it,
mean?
isn't it in a week?
No, for
Isn't it
us,
in a
it is it. Yeah, oh, yeah, it's in like yeah. Oh crap, it is. It's in like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
no, it's in a week though.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because
But
I'm going to Ohio for one of our regionals. Huh? Yeah, no, you're right.
oh, playing OPO too?
Yeah, OPO too. Yeah, yeah.
All
Yes.
right, so if I were to expect Zoros, right, I can tell you the truth. I will probably be playing Vistas.
Yeah, so I used to play Vista a lot. I had 4 Vistas in here. But since I wasn't able to reduce the cost to really make it worth it, like sometimes he just adjusts a 1K counter in hand. So then at one point I was running Otamas as well, just in case I needed to bring it down.
Okay, I understand the synergy you want to bring to the deck, but I feel that it's a bit too much. I think we should stick to our generic game plan, which is to really try to play for board and then yeah, just try to play for board and then hopefully we get to go to our late game because I think our late game is quite strong, right? We are ending our curve with Newgate. So I think I don't really feel that we need the Otamas in the deck if we want to combine it with Vistas. But obviously Vistas is just something we might want to add if we expect a little bit more Zoros because I'm not too sure how you fare versus Zoro or Newgate because I expect these two decks to be one of the most broad decks lah. I
Yeah,
would expect
so
Zoro or Newgate.
run into more here. You run into Luffy. You run into Zoro. Newgate. He's a hit and a miss. A lot of people are, and then Law. You run into Law semi frequently, but like a lot of times it's either Zoro or Luffy you're running into. Like people just love their red
Okay,
guards.
with that in mind, I think running Vistas is fine so that we can answer their cheaper stuff as well. Even versus Law, I think if you were to fight Law, right, drawing Vistas is such a Hail Mary card because you get to pop, or what I call it, Bonnies for free. You get to pop the cheap bottlers for free.
Right.
Looking at your deck, we already know that we cannot. There is no access to actually popping those cheap stuff, right? And I feel that if let's say our Garp gets answered, the 2 cost Garp, we need to have some sort of fallback like plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the Vistas can also try to take out like I said the cheaper stuff. So imagine like since you're already at 4 health, fighting like maybe a Zoro deck. Sometimes you cannot waste your leader's attack on their characters. You have to have some sort of ability to try to like get advantage through like maybe popping the characters like maybe Vista or Kobe.
Yeah.
Cause if you're on the clock, right, which means that your only win condition is to also put them on the clock, right? Not just survive, you also have to win. If the guy suddenly tops deck Zoro and then he just wins because he has another attack, then like it's unfortunate, yes, but at the same time it's because early on maybe we were attacking their characters a little bit too much. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair.
So we cannot be actually wasting so much time on just attacking their characters as well. Even though like our main objective is to pop the board and then play from there, right? But at the same time, you cannot really always rely on just hoping the guy doesn't draw juice.
Yeah, no, it
So
doesn't
if
always work.
a card that I'll add in, a card that I'll add in is probably Vista if I was expecting a lot of those bot centric decks.
So what? So at this
Um,
point, we're at the 51 mark for the deck, or 50 cards for the deck. Like, what are you thinking? Like 4 Vistas, 2 Vistas, or like what would we reduce? I guess to make them work.
okay, if I was expecting Zoros, right,
I'm always
or
expecting
Luffy,
Zoro. Always expecting Zoro. Always expecting Luffy.
if if we're always expecting Zoro and Luffy, okay, let me look at the card pool and then you only have access to OPO2, right? No new STs,
No, just
no
all
nothing,
the
right?
just the OPO2 stuff. Now for the pre-release that's happening, well, this term is happening the weekend of pre-release. So
Mm-hmm.
Moby Dick is banned, and that blue card, that Kabaichi or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah.
So you don't have to worry about.
Mm,
I don't have to worry about any type of boat beards because it's going to be banned. So I don't have to worry about that 2K boost. Just got to worry about a bunch of straw beards.
I think Shawbeards will still be prevalent. Okay, if I were to add cards into the deck, or if I were to change ratios, right? Okay, instead of playing Bartholomew, right? Have you ever considered playing Choppers?
Yes. So my thing with Chopper is I hate getting him off life because he has no counter. Like he can't save me in a pinch. That's the only reason I stopped running Chopper, because he just can't save me in a pinch. Like if I need him, he's not there for me. Bart, on the other hand, if
1K counter.
I at least get the 1K counter, and then if I need to, if I know I'm going against a deck like against Zoro or Law, or I can see a Vista coming soon, or even Nico Robin, him and giving him 2 Don. So for 4 Don, he's now 5,000. So he gets to survive the next turn, and he can't just cheaply remove him if they wanted to. That was the reason why I went with Bart over Chopper.
Okay, I think that's fair. It's just if it's the curve if you're playing new gate, but I mean since we're only running 2 new gates, I think it's okay. Okay, from the list alone, right? If there are cards that I will cut, I know it's gonna sound a little bit crazy,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
but
If you say Garp, I swear to goodness, we're gonna fight. Can't cut the Garp.
if I were to cut a card, honestly, it's either the either black events. It's either the fist or shockwave. Personally, I feel Force Shockwave might be a little bit too taxing, even though we really want to use events. Uh, for me, because I feel that most of the time, right, if we want to pressure our opponents, right, we cannot always afford 2 Dons up.
That's fair. I do find myself sitting on the back foot every once in a while, just kind of waiting
I
for them to do something.
and I just feel that if you have 2 Dons up, right, your opponent will play around it anyways. So I might as well just make it look like I have it regardless. You know what I mean?
Fair.
No reason for me to always play into the Shockwave when our opponent is just trying to like push for game. That's what I feel. Even though it's a really good card versus Zoro and Law, but sometimes it just feels a little bit much, especially when we just want to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, okay. So, what, should I leave just the 2 or get rid of all of those as well?
I think playing 2 is fine because sometimes if we pop it off from the trigger, it's quite game changing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this list looks fair. I would if okay when we first tested the deck, right? It was really different. To say the least. We had Namis, we had pistols, we had Robins, we had Brook. Because on paper, right, isn't Brook's just insane since we get to give 2 Don and decrease at the same time?
I've not fallen in love with Brooke. I've tried Brooke numerous times, and it just never. It just it's iffy. I prefer, if I had to choose, I would choose this Luffy
Yeah,
over
we
him.
had we had this
Yeah,
Luffy in the deck as well. So basically we run a
yeah,
very straw hat centric build where we try to manipulate the cost, right, so that our Kobis and our Sakazukis get to reduce and we get to KO the bigger stuff. But Luffy's really bad in the Robin lah, as you can see. It's
yeah,
just it sees Robin and it just falls. But
yeah.
I mean, if I were to play Brook, will essentially means that I will have to play Nami, so that we have to play Straw Hats, so that my
Yeah,
2K counter can be searchable. So the whole deck will change.
I
But
don't like the Nami because she sends all the cards I need to the bottom. She sends Borsellino down. She sends Gar. I'm like, no.
I know what I mean. I know what I
Yeah,
mean. No, but okay, the amount of times that you send them down, it's the same as the amount of times that you don't send them down.
that's fair. That's fair. But it's like, was it worth like just getting this 2K counter? Was it worth getting rid of the next card being Borsellino? Like, for me, it's just like it never really paid off. Where it's like I really needed her. Like now, I did run a build where I had Rush Zoro in it and everything, so it was just like a very fast aggression deck that just rushed you down and attack, but then still popped your characters, and that worked out. I enjoyed that one, but it just still just came up. It's just something was missing.
Alright, let me just double check the card list before we run some games. Honestly, I think the biggest issue we've got at the moment is that you don't really have a lot of access to like a whiteboard. Like you can't clear a whiteboard, and we will always be lacking cards in our hand. I think that's one of the bigger issues with the deck. If we were facing Zoro and Luffy, how many 2K counters am I running? 12? 4, 4, 4, 8, 12. Deck cards are 1, 2, 5, 9. 9 plus 4, 13, 13, 16. Okay, 16 is fair. Right, 16, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think it's fine. I think the list looks great. But I think this is very Zoro-centric because of Vistas. So, okay, let me just make the Luffy deck and then we can run some games. And the Zoro deck. I already have the Zoro deck. Okay, give me a moment.
Yes, sir.
So that actually you can try to figure out. And then maybe I mean this is all deck building lah. After deck building, obviously we will go into maybe like fundamentals and how you think about every moving turn so that actually I can try to understand what you're trying to do, you know what I mean?
Perfect. Yeah, 'cause that's where I'm slacking. I feel like that's where I'm slacking. The advanced genius thoughts when it comes to the game, like those micro decisions, like to really just make myself a god of this game. Because I want to just make sure, like, when I play people, they're like, wow, this guy is so much better than me. How is he so much better than me? And then I'm just looking and say, oh man, I don't know, bro. I just had some fun, you know. And I want to leave them sitting there looking like, wow, he is way better than me. Yeah, that's it. I just want that. I just want them to be like, wow, this guy is a god. You know, I just want them to understand that like I'm a god of the game. That's it.
Well, I hope you get to reach that status lah.
I feel like it's happening. You know, I'm investing the time, the thoughts, you know, the money, the resources to acquire the greatness. So I feel like people are just gonna be like, wow, this guy's just so much better than me. They're gonna be like, wow, like why? And then they're gonna be like, oh no, yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. That's it. It's
Alright,
fantastic.
are you on 1.16a?
Let's see. All right, let me save this real quick. SKYE. Save. Back to lobby. Yes, 16A.
Alright, I'll make the room and then give me a moment. I'll send you on
Bet.
Discord lah.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so you can't get my secrets. He's gonna try
No,
and steal.
you should share screen. You should share screen so that we can talk through what's your thinking.
Okay. He's gonna. I see what he's trying to do here. Okay.
Share screen so that you
I
can
will
share with me what you're thinking so that we can
always.
help you improve.
All right, that's a much better way. I was thinking
Because
about it.
there's no reason for me to snipe you, right? Because that's no it doesn't help me improve.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I was like, he's gonna try and see my moves here. But it's right. You're supposed to help me. That's what we're doing. All right. So we should change this deck here. Garp Skye, and then I need to get the room ID from this thing. Mink. Got that. Take that. Paste that. Join. Okay.
Alright, I won the dice show lah, so obviously I get to choose. But if you're playing Garp, right, versus Luffy, would you want to start first or second?
So usually when I have my event cards, the event counters, and then also 2 calls Garp, I want to go second so that my first time I can drop a 2 calls Garp or have the event cards up to kill a Nami or a Sunny Kun or something like that.
So you would want to go second, even though you know it's a Luffy, even though like Luffy's curve on one is so much better than every other deck.
Yeah, but the way you said it makes me seem like it's wrong, so that's probably a bad decision.
No. Okay, so I think generally for Garp, right, we always want to go second because we get the extra card for the draw. It means that we have one more card to discard, and then we also can one more card to counter lah in theory. And starting second, our curve is also much better as every black deck is lah. But I feel versus red, right? Usually you want to try to snatch first, especially versus Luffy, because Luffy going first is quite insane. But apart from that, I can see why you want to go second. So I'll go first, and then maybe we'll see if anything changes lah. Because I'm not very efficient in Garp, but I do understand that most of the time we don't want to let our opponent go first. Like maybe if we fight Ivankov or maybe Blue Dwarf Flamingo, we also don't want to let them go first because them starting first is so much insane. Like their curve is so much more powerful than us going second. You know what I mean? So it's not so much about us wanting to go second. It's more about we don't want them to go first. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
Because their curve is so much stronger, and we want to deny that. So this is the part where I told you about like win conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you have to deny for them in theory lah. This is something that we have been doing lah. So like decks that we know starting first has so much more advantage. Usually we try to take away from that because winning the dice roll is like you know what I mean. Like we've already won the hardest part of the battle. Like then we might as well try to make full use of make full use of the fact that we won it, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So usually we try to take away the advantage from them lah. But okay, so even though you know that, I'll let you start second, and then I'll go first, and then we'll see what happens lah.
All right. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and keep this.
I mean, cause we saw the Garp, right?
Yeah,
So
we saw the Garp. We saw the Garp. Like, and the meteor volcano. So it's like, if you got it.
okay, then generally, right? Let's say if you only saw Garp, let's say your hand is Suru Tashigi, Garp, and maybe instead of this Sakazuki, right, you saw like maybe a Shockwave. Are you still keeping the hand? Cause you saw Garp.
Because I saw Garp and Shockwave, yes. Because with this, if I wanted to, like if you had just a cheap character on the field like Nami, I could just leave up the Shockwave and then kill Nami next turn. Because I know if I put down the 2-cost Garp, it might get Visted. But then like having the option of KOing the Nami with the Shockwave and then dropping Garp next turn in case you do or don't have the Vista, but I have more Dawn to utilize and drop something else. I would probably stick with it. I would be like, yep, okay, this might work.
So if your hand has Shockwave and Garp, your turn one you would pass. You won't play Garp.
No, yeah, right now I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't play Garp. I would just save it for the Shockwave.
Oh,
Because you probably wouldn't swing with the Nami. You know, Nami would just be there.
I know this is something that hasn't happened like because we don't have the Shockwave, right? Next time we are definitely playing Garp on the board. But I think that the fear of getting Vista, right, is not as big as your own win condition.
That's fair. Okay.
So let's say in this let's say my Nami I take I'll take Robin lah, okay, so I'll take Robin here. And knowing that I took Robin in my hand, there is no way you're not playing Garp next turn because you want to pop the Robin off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because let's say if you don't play the Garp here, when are you playing down the Garp? What's the point of keeping Garp in our hand if we're gonna keep it for later turns?
I would usually play him after I did the Shockwave.
Right, but let's say if I develop a Robin already, so let's say next turn my leader swings and then you shockwave the Nami, right? And then you're staring down at Robin, which is gonna pop the Garp.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Where instead of being in fear of getting Vista, right? If he doesn't have Vista, then he can't play the Robin for free as well. Does that make sense?
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Cause you cannot be always sitting on the backhand thinking that if I get Vista, it's game over. What if he didn't have Vista? Then doesn't that mean that you be ahead? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
We cannot always be playing. We cannot always be playing behind where our win condition is to use Garp to try to take over the board early game. So this is something you have to take note, especially when if you have the option to wave on the following turn. This is how I see it, because you and I can agree that Garp's our win condition, and we have to play to our win condition. We cannot just be always so scared of Vista.
Yeah, no. Now I have two. This is the game over. I have two Garps. I have 2 Garps on the field. I win. I played one guy last night, and I had 3 Garps, and I was like, I just kept drawing him every turn. I was like, yeah, I win, because every time he tried to kill one, I let him kill it, and then I just kill whatever it was next turn.
If you draw every Garp, is he gonna do a lot?
Yeah, like just every card he tried to play, he just kept getting Garped, and he was like, this is ridiculous. So
Right.
I won.
I'll just play my Robin here in not respecting the Garp, cause that's my strongest play.
Okay. So I could go 3 on, see 2 here, lower that down to 2, or cost of 1, and then 1 here. I could just go 6/6, I guess. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can go 6/6. I could do that. It's enough to do that. So I'll probably go here. I put 2 here, bring that, then drop 1 here. Bring that just to make sure, and then no, probably go 5. Yeah, swing 5 here, kill Robin, And then usually Luffy's, they'll just take the first hit anyway. So I'm not trying to like overcommit. And then I would leave the 1-up just as like maybe it's a guard point or a radical beam.
Okay. I think here, right, swinging for 7 is better than trying to bluff that you have beam or guard point.
Okay.
Okay, mainly because I think, let's say you were in the Luffy's perspective, right? When are you gonna guard point? That's the first question I have in my mind. So that, let's say if I swing, are you really gonna guard point? That's the first thing that you have to take note. So when you want to leave Dawn up to bluff, right, you have to understand, that I understand, like, it might sound like, how do I put it, like it's an edge, right? Like maybe you can try to bluff like maybe radical beam or guard point, right? But at this point, right, there's no reason to. You will much rather try to pressure our opponent and swing for 3k counter instead of 2 because 2k counter is so much significantly cheaper than 3k counter. And pushing the extra damage, right, just means that in the long run, right, you might actually win because you push extra 1 for 3k instead of 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's okay.
Because if you've been playing One Piece for a long while, you would know that most of your games, it's always by the inches. It's always by if I'm short 1k, if I'm short 2k, or if the guy is short 1 or 2k. Similarly, I mean that there will be butterfly effects. Obviously, if you swing for 2k counter here, it might change the gameplay, or if you swing for 3, but usually to play out our win condition, which is to kill the guy, uh, and since we already float this 1 Dawn, because in the future, right, we might not have the privilege to have this 1 extra Dawn to swing for 7. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if we have the opportunity to, why not swing for 7 here instead of trying to bluff? Because if you bluff with guard point or you bluff with radical beam, then in my opinion, there's no reason for you to actually use that card next turn. You know what I mean? Because if I swing, are you really gonna guard point? That's what I would be thinking, lah.
Okay.
So there's no reason to bluff here. It's more of we have to try to push and then apply pressure on our opponents so that they might feel like they might need to do something funny, lah, in a way. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
whenever you want to bluff, right, you need to have a reason to. You can't just say that, oh, I'll leave 1 up just to bluff because of reasons, lah. Everything that we do in One Piece, like I said, since everything is by inches, right, it has to have a reason. I'll just take this, lah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean, lah. Because there are some times where if they always counter, right, you are just out of it. You know what I mean? You can't come back at all.
Yeah, because like I would think like for me, I was just like, okay, well, it'll. They could say, oh, it's just 6. I'll drop a 2K and start getting 2Ks out of hand for like a Machino or something like that, or time. But that does make a lot of
Okay,
sense.
I mean, obviously, then if you also go into like thinking that okay, maybe I want my opponent to counter 2 here instead of him taking the damage. You know what I mean? But as a Garp, right, you would know that sometimes you are quite urgent to kill the guy. Like you're already at 4 health, they're already pushing you 1 damage earlier, which essentially means that if they want to kill you, right, they're already killing you faster. So we
Yeah.
kind
Okay.
of have to match the pace, you know what I mean? Obviously, there are situations where we are more than happy if the guy decides to counter 2, but what if the guy is crazy enough to counter 3? Correct? If we're
Yeah.
happy with him countering 2, doesn't that mean that there's a chance that he might want to counter 3? And if he does that, then we are in a so much happier position than previously, right? Because he decides to throw 1 more counter. I'm not saying it's the right play. It's more of we're trying to make full use if our opponent can make a misplay.
No, fair. That's
And
fair.
if he do, and if he does that, then we'll be happy, right? Like, wow, that's insane. All right. So my question is, do you counter for this Garp here, knowing that there's another attack behind this?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the math. Let me see. So 3, or is it 5, 6, 7, 8? And if you do it, it'd be 9,000. If you go all out, it'd be 9,000.
I know, if I go out, it'll be 8. I gave the rest of them to Nami.
Oh, okay. All right. So it'd be 8. So then I would need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I could, but that cost me 3 cards. And at this point, I would probably just let it go. So I have a second one in hand. It would just be cheaper to let him go.
Alright, so if objectively you would know that you're letting this go, right? My question to you is, okay, what are you gonna do next turn
Next turn I
with
would
6 done?
play with 6 down. I would play Vista, kill the Dan. All right, so that'd be 3. Use Garp to go in, take out Nami, and then I will put another Garp back on the field.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's obviously one of the line of plays that we can do, right? Okay. Knowing that I have 3 dons left, my strongest play tempo wise will probably be playing Zoro down. Okay,
Yeah.
that's as strong as it gets. Okay, let's say I don't do that. Let's say I play the Nami that I took from the Dadan, and then I swing with my leader. Okay, if I did that, then have you ever thought about maybe playing Sakazuki for tempo instead? And maybe if we want, we can pop the Dadan through our Sakazuki.
No.
Wouldn't that?
I wouldn't have thought about that. I would have. Yeah, I would have gone for, I guess, a wider board instead of just the.
Okay. So here's my take on it and why I've thought about it lah. Mainly because if we develop a taller board, which means that in the future our attacks essentially means that it can go through because it's a taller board, right?
Right.
A wider board means that we have to give dons to our characters to actually swing. So to put it into perspective would be, let's say my Nami has already swung at your Garp, right? Let's say the following turn, if you really do play Vista and Garp, and then the Vista obviously will pop the Dadan, right?
Right.
Okay. Now you have to think why my leader will be swinging at the rested Nami. Like why? Because I just want his board to be empty. Does it do anything? If my opponent decides to put 3 dons onto the Nami to swing for 1k, isn't that great? Because if he gave 3 dons to his leader to swing for 8, that's like significantly more counters that I have to give out, right? Make sense?
Say it again. Say it again.
Okay. So, following your line of play that you wanted to do, right, which is to play Garp and Vista, the Vista will have popped the Dadan, and then your leader will have swung at the Nami, right?
Right.
Okay. Instead of doing that, let's say if that was the play, like let's say we didn't have Sakazukis lah, we are still playing Garp, we're still playing Vistas, okay? Instead of your leader attacking Nami, we could have attacked his leader instead, and then force him to throw 1k counter. Us attacking the Nami here is detrimental to us because if he wants to make full use of the Nami, he has to give dons to it. Be it 1 don, be it 3 dons. If he gives 1 don, he has to attack a rested Garp. If he gives 3 dons, then it attacks our leader, right? It's only asking us for 1k counter.
Now, what about Makino and the that other guy, Magara?
Yeah, but okay, versus Luffy, the deck doesn't have Magaras lah. But
oh, fair. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
I understand. I understand it's a concern, but at this point, right, are we really that afraid of the Nami doing work? It might haunt us in the future, but we also have to understand that he still has multiple 1 cost to play down. You know what I mean? The Dadan did take a Nami as well. So let's say if I develop the Nami here, you still don't have any reason to swing at Nami. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I usually try to kill her, but okay.
Because in the long run, right, attacking this Nami might it will pull you back a few steps lah. Because instead of attacking the Nami, if you attack the leader, the guy is either forcing himself to throw 1k counter or he's forcing himself to take the damage. With both of the decisions we want instead of attacking the Nami. So this is something you have to weigh the pros and cons to. Is that I understand that Makino and Magra might be something that you're in fear of, but at this point, at such an early stages of the game, right, we don't really have to be that concerned about them trying to commit with Makino Magra. This is Luffy matchup lah specifically. Maybe versus Zoro matchups we might try to clear the Nami instead. But for Luffy matchups, right, like I said, if they have it, then sure, we just let them do it. But if not, right, we just swing at their face so that we can go towards our win condition. And versus Zoro, right, I understand that maybe we might want to go wider, like Garp and Vista. But versus Luffy, I feel that there's no reason for us to go as wide. A taller board might be more efficient.
Okay.
But so this is what I'm trying to say by the Dawn efficient thing is that the Nami on the board has to be Dawn committed to do work at this point. Even if he wants to play Magra, right, it's also 1 Dawn committed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And he has to have the Magra for him to give 1 Dawn for it to swing for 1. Which also means that he's wasting 1k. And instead of that, why not we just swing at the leader, you know what I mean? I think that's one of the few things that you have to take note when you're trying to evaluate which is better lah. because like I said, I think if you were to put this simulation in like maybe 100 games, right? Usually attacking the leader is correct, but maybe out of the 100 games, maybe like 12 times attacking the Nami is right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But most of the time, we want to attack face so that not only maybe the guy has to throw down resources, but if he really wants to do something funny with the Nami, then we'll let him do it because we feel that it's not as relevant.
That makes
Yeah, that's how I
sense.
see it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay, then also right. Okay, so now back to this guarding thing. Okay, you have to take note another thing is that okay, so let's say we already established next turn. It's either we're playing Sakazuki. So let's say if he plays Tempo Zoro, we are definitely Sakazukiing the Zoro, right?
Okay. Yeah.
No reason not to. If he develops a wider board, maybe we want to play Vista and the Garp. Okay, so these are the two lines of play that we have established. Now you have to realize that okay, the Nami is swinging at your Garp. What else can he do this turn if he doesn't play Zoro? I understand that if he plays Zoro, it's so detrimental for you because he's just gonna face another attack, right? And let's say if he get in, and let's say if he gives 1k to 1 don to the leader and he swings at Garp, you're not countering that for sure, right? But if you put it in another perspective, would be let's say if we do counter for this Garp, let's say we are throwing 2k counter, okay, we're throwing a Tashigi, and then his leader has to attack the Garp, right? I mean, I don't think any person that knows the Garp deck would probably leave the Garp alive, lah. But if you put into that kind of perspective, would mean that you're actually guarding 2 attacks for 2k counter, right?
Okay. Okay.
I know on paper it might sound the same, cause on paper would be we let this go, his leader swings at our leader, and we throw 2k, right? On paper it sounds the same, but it's not. Because now we restrict his play to attack the guard. Does that make sense?
So it's yeah, okay. So
I
it's
hope I
save.
can.
No, no, I'm trying to make sure we're saving Garp to force him to attack into Garp,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I would.
Yeah.
So I do who? So ditch Vista? No, or all right. So no blockers.
Okay,
Then, sir.
so this is something you have to evaluate, which is the let's say if he doesn't have Zoro, let's say if he vistas the guard, then we will be wasting 1k, right? So this is also something that you have to weigh lah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because straight out, right, flat out, if you're telling me that if I throw 1k counter here and I get to protect this guard and then I force him to swing at his like with his leader, right, I would do it without thinking. But let's say if I do counter this and then if he vistas me and he pops it and his leader still gets to swing at our leader for 1, means that we wasted 1k counter.
Yeah.
Right?
That's something I do.
These are the two these are
Yeah.
the two situations you have now, right? It's either we counter this for 1 card or we let it go. Hello?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Yeah. Everything's good.
Okay, so yeah, so now you just have to really try to weigh whether he has the Vista or not, and make a decision here. Personally, I feel that if he has the Vista, he would have done it last turn lah, unless he rip it off the top, right? If he last turn
Right.
he had Vista, why wouldn't he Vista? Why would he play Robin, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So I would probably not try to play around the Vista. I'll probably try to counter this, and then we'll see what else he has to play. Correct? Because in theory, like I said, if we counter this, means that we're countering 2 attacks for 1k counter instead of like how I put it, we're restricting his play lah. That's what I feel.
It makes a lot of sense.
Alright, then I'll play Nami. Alright, then since I don't really have another play, I'll just swing at this and play Deuce. Are you tempted to counter for him?
I am. I'm
I
very
probably
tempted.
will.
You said what?
Okay,
I'm very
for
tempted.
me, I think if I was gonna counter for him, right, I would have not countered the first time because I think if we counter now, we're wasting a little bit too much resources.
Yeah.
Don't
No.
you think so?
Yeah, because that'd be
Because our
two more
gameplay,
cards.
our win condition now is not gonna be based on the Garp, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta let him go. Gotta let him go.
Right. Okay, now just play Deuce and pass.
All right. Let's see. So here we're at the 6. So you're thinking you drop Sakazuki, and then you KO Dodon.
I'll KO Deuce. I mean, if I have a choice. Because Deuce is the same stats, but it has an effect.
That's fair, yeah. And then, so
Yep.
would you
So
attack leader to leader here?
yes, I will usually never attack the Nami here because I think even though we try to respect the Magra, right? He has two Namis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then that, and then play Sakazuki, use card effect. I would probably get rid of. See, normally I would just get rid of Sakazuki, like I don't need two. But I would probably just get rid of Kobe or
What
Sable.
about Meteor Volcano?
Just because I'm in a pinch, I don't need to ditch a card to pop. Like Kobe, I would have to ditch a card, but if I needed to, I could just drop him and just KO. Especially since all these are low cost characters. If I need to get rid of something, I can just play that.
Okay, so my question to you would be, if we are keeping Meteor Volcano in our hand, right? What are we gonna pop with? What are we gonna pop? Like what potential cards are we gonna pop?
Uh, Zoro, 2 down under leader, 7K, swing to life, meter volcano to kill the Zoro. Um, a Tony Chopper if you're running it, just to remove that to go for a lethal attack. That's about it, really. That's about it.
Okay. Then with that in mind, I think it's fine to drop Kobe instead because like you said, with our leader's effect, right, it just means that our Meteor Volcano is so much more efficient, right? Free pop, we can pop anything we want. So yeah, usually we just drop the Kobe here. So I think it's fine, but um the only issue is that I feel that our hand doesn't have enough juice. We don't have enough late game stuff. I understand we have the Saka,
Yeah.
but that's all we have. And like let's say next turn we are playing Saka down, are we really popping another Dadan? You know what I mean?
Hopefully not. Hopefully play
Yep.
someone with more value.
Yeah, so that's something we have to think more of lah, but
Okay, another Nami. Jeez Louise. All right, Zoro. There we go. Let's see. Instance, what? That's 5 still, so 3 for Zoro. Then 1 each be 2 6K swings. So in this one, I would just take it.
you shouldn't expect 6k swings though. You should. If he has the ability to, right, he will always swing by odd numbers. He will never swing by even numbers.
So you're thinking
Because he'll swing 5 by 7.
that makes sense.
Because no reason to swing 6 by 6, right? Because 5 by 7 is 1 by 1 by 3. If you swing by 6 by 6, it's always 2 by 2. If he has the ability to, he doesn't have any reason to swing 2 by 2 for. Right?
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so this is something to take note.
Yeah, so this one I would I would still take it. And then, all right, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's a good card. Good card.
Alright, now swing for 5 again.
And then, with that knowledge of 7K coming anyway, let's see.
I mean, or I can give my Nami 5, but I'll probably develop the Zoro lah.
Yeah, wouldn't be able to play the Zoro. Let's see. Now I don't want to drop Borsellino as a counter; it'd just be a waste at this point.
I think if you're considering about wasting 1k counter, right? So okay, uh if you are expecting a 7k attack after this, right? Usually we always opt to counter this, right? Because this is always cheaper than the 7k counter. Right?
That's fair.
Okay.
Fair.
And with that in mind, I think the only issue why I think you haven't thrown a counter is because we are throwing 2k for one, right?
Yeah.
But I think you have to understand that 1k and 2k in the long run usually is about the same value unless it's very, very tight. And with the abundance of 2k counters, right, it's fine to always just throw 2 instead because we are expecting a 7k attack next turn.
That's fair.
So I think you have to understand the value of 1k and 2ks. I know sometimes it's a bit tough, but if he's swinging for 7, then why not I waste this, like, quote unquote waste this 1k counter first instead of actually wasting another 1k counter, which is throwing for 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So then boom. To the no blocker, resolve. No use here. No trigger effects.
Alright, then I'll pass.
Okay. They're the dang Zoro I was calling for. So now it'll cost me 4 Dawn to kill the Zoro if I use Meteor Volcano. And then I can have 4 Dawn remaining for Borsalino for my defensive measures. And then I can use Leader to take out Curly, and then Sakazuki to swing at life. Or
Okay.
I could do Leader into Zoro, force you to ditch a counter. Right? So force you to, yeah. So no, because if I do 2 Dawn under Leader, that give him 7k. So I could swing into Zoro first, see if you try and save him. But you probably wouldn't save him because Sakazuki's sitting there. So that would just be silly.
Okay, I think to better help you think through your thought process, right? The first thing you have to take note or try to really evaluate would be, what are you expecting next turn from your opponent,
Yeah, at this point, Newgate. Just so I can
right?
see,
So
yeah, Newgate.
if you've already established that it's either Newgate, or maybe if you don't answer the Zoro, there's a chance that maybe he will split the power and go for game, right? Okay, so I think we have boiled down that our opponent only has 2 lines of play, which is either to kill you or to play down Newgate, right? One of these 2 options. Okay, with that in mind, does your line of play change to think about how to tackle the board or how to go for game? Because okay, now after we have evaluated what our opponent is gonna do, we have to try to understand, when are we gonna win. I think that's the biggest issue that we have and on our hand now. If we have maybe 2 or 3 more lives, I'm sure that we can always just try to take control of the board and then win from there. But the problem now is that we are down to 1.
Right.
We have lost the board. Our board is just 1 Sakazuki. How and when are we gonna start winning the game? I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest issue in hand.
Yeah.
So you have to try to figure out.
No, what were you saying?
Because if we are facing down a Newgate next turn, right? What are we gonna do?
I'm gonna kill it.
We
I'm gonna
have
kill
to
it.
counter.
I'm gonna kill
Oh,
it.
we are gonna kill it. Oh, that's very far. That's very fierce.
He's dying. He's dead. Her, Don, he kills it. Done. Newgate's dead. Newgate's dying. So he's dead. He's dead next turn.
Oh, Newgate's dead. Oh,
Yeah.
which means that we are keeping Sakazuki in our hand now.
Oh, the Sakazuki, yeah. So Sakazuki would stay, but also having the ability to use Meteor Volcano, because I could drop Sakazuki, right? So drop Sakazuki, take out the Zoro, and then get rid of, I don't know, like something else. I could do that, and then have the 2 Sakazukis on the field, but I would feel much safer with the Borsalino, just because now I have like a nice blocker, to go along with my 2K bodies. Because when Newgate comes next turn, right, you're gonna be swinging for 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you'll be swinging for 8. So then I would just block with Borsalino. No, that wouldn't work either. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, no, 6, 7. Yeah, so I would still need to ditch extra 2K counters to do it. Yeah.
Okay. I know that KOing the Newgate next turn sounds very, very nice. But you have to understand that
Sounds great.
if
Kill it.
yes. Okay, but you have to understand that even if after you waste all these resources just to KO the Newgate, right, our opponent is still threatening lethal on board. Right?
Fair.
Which will be quite detrimental for us because how are we gonna win if we're just dead, right? So even if we waste like maybe 3 cards to pop 1 Newgate, we are still gonna die next turn. So at this point, I don't think we have the luxury to try to KO the Newgate because it's a lot of resources wasted and we are on the clock. So I think you have to try to figure out, like I said, when we're gonna win. because it cannot be just us trying to keep popping stuff and when we are wasting resources when our opponent is blatantly trying to kill us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So with that in mind, right, you have to understand. Okay, if we are expecting new game next turn, which is most the straightforward play lah. Some players might actually see lethal here because you're only at 1 health if you don't play any blockers. Uh, what I was thinking was to play down the Sakazuki this turn so that we can set up a stronger board to play for 2 turns. Which means that next turn, if he does play down Newgate, we are probably gonna radical beam it and try to counter out of it. So that we can be at 1 health. Because okay, what my line now I'm gonna show you what my line of play was to probably play down Sakazuki, pop the Zoro, give 1 to my Garp, and then swing for leader for 2k counter, and then my Sakazuki swings his leader for 3k counter, and then float 1 Don. So that if he does play down Newgate, he swings for 8, I can just radical beam it. Then the following turn, we'll play down the Borsalino, and then hopefully we survive.
Okay, all right, let's try that one. Let's hit. Okay, so Sakazuki. All right, so we're doing this. All right. So I'm doing Sakazuki first. Am I attacking? So I'm not attacking first. I'm doing Sakazuki
No.
first.
Usually we attack first. I was just thinking my line of plays like this is
Gotcha,
my
gotcha.
and yeah. So usually we attack first.
All right,
So
so
I think our leader can swing first, right? We just give 1 to leader, swing for 6.
all right, so 1 to leader, boom, and then just drop that down. So then swing
Yep.
at Luffy for 6.
Yes. Okay. The reason why we don't swing at the Dun, is mainly because we are expecting new game next turn. And
Right,
if he
so
wants the new game, means that the Dun's not gonna do any work.
that's fair.
Okay, and the reason why we don't want to swing at the Zoro is because we plan to playing Sakazuki to discard Meteor Volcano because it's a dead card in our hand at this point. So we have already evaluated that at this point, either we want him to drop 2k counter or we want him to take damage, which both outcomes we want, instead of him instead of him letting the Zoro go, which is something that we don't want. Make sense?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
So this is
I've been
something
in
that
that
we need to
situation.
evaluate. This is something we need to evaluate when we are attacking so that we can know what we want from our opponent. You know what I mean? Like I said, everything we do in One Piece, right, it has to have a meaning behind it. So that we don't catch ourselves lacking in this case, you know what I mean? Like attacking for 5 here instead of 6 also might have been a difference. I understand it might not be that big of a difference, but imagine if our opponent doesn't have a 2k counter in his hand and he has to drop double 1ks. Like isn't that game winning, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's real
So we
nice.
always So we always want to capitalize on the fact that they might not have it and then try to swing for 6 instead. Like we could have leave 1 Dawn up to bluff for maybe 1 more guard point or 1 more radical beam, but since we're already expecting Newgate next turn, we will just throw 1 radical beam instead anyways, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so at this moment, so swinging for 6s is important lah. So yeah, I'll just counter this and then
So then Sakazuki swinging for 7 to leader or 8.
yep. So that we no, we swing for 7. Okay, 7 and 8 here, right? Doesn't matter because 8 is too much for him to counter. And if he swings for 7 and if he wants to counter, right, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So don't force him. Don't force him to take it. Give him the option to counter out or take
Yeah.
it.
If he wants to counter, okay, sure, go ahead. But if it's 8, right, and he doesn't have it, he will just do it as like, okay, sure, I have no choice, right? And also, we cannot swing for 8 because we want to leave 1 Dawn up for Radical
For the
Beam.
radical beam, yeah.
So yeah, that's something you need to take note. Alright, I'll just take that.
So then we're thinking Sakazuki, use, get rid of, kill, and then intern.
Okay, then obviously I'm just gonna play down the gate. Then
Yeah,
I'll just swing.
I call that one.
I mean, my turn's pretty simple lah.
Yeah. So then I would go radical beam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, radical beam.
Okay, the reason why we radical beam here, I think you will already know because going to 0 is quite dangerous, right?
Yeah.
No reason for us to go to 0. So usually we always want radical beam, and also we radical beam here so that if the following turn, if we can leave Dawn up for another radical beam, right? Instead of leaving 2 Dawn up, we only need to leave 1 Dawn up. Does that make sense?
Okay, that's fair.
So it'll be a little bit more Dawn efficient for our future turns, even though we don't have it now, but it's something that we need to play around so that we can play into our outs. Because we are on the backhand now, and we have to try to make use of every opportunity to play to our best Dawn lah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is something you have to also understand that yeah, we just radical beam here so that we don't fly to 0 lah.
Okay. All right, no 2K. Okay.
Okay, looking at your hand, right, I think it's quite simple lah. But you wanna share with me about what you will do, so that maybe I can yeah.
At this point, I would just Borsalino would hit the field, leave me with 6 down, and then but then I would also like dance around the idea of trying to just like go for game, but I would be like, that's probably not the best move. And I do have 1 life.
Okay.
So,
I think we definitely cannot go for game this turn since he did play Newgate.
yeah.
Okay, so following the reason why we decided to play down our second Sakazuki this turn, right, would be that we are trying to play for this 2-turn litter, which is this turn and the next turn. Essentially means that this turn our objective is really to chip him down with resources and then try to go for game the following turn while establishing our Borsalino, because Borsalino cannot be KO, right?
Right.
Which means that most likely the Borsalino can tank like 1 attack from the Newgate, which is fair. So I think you're absolutely right. We are definitely playing down the Borsalino this turn. It's more of how are we gonna attack our opponent.
Let me see. So drop Borsalino, that leave me with 6 down. So 7. Let's see. So 6 down. 2, 3, 4. I could do 5, 6, 7, 8. Like I kind of want to lean to doing like 8, 8, 8, but just to force out a bunch of 2K counters if you got them, or 1K count, like double 1K counters. But I guess I could also go 2 under Sakazuki's, so that's 9, 9. And then I could just so I'll probably go 2 under Garp, swing for 7, see what happens, and then either go 9 with Sakazuki's to both of them. Just banking that you probably don't have too many 2K counters, or if you do, you're gonna start ditching them, and then drop Borsalino as the safety net. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We probably don't have a turn after the next turn, right?
That's fair.
Like after the next turn, it's our last turn, correct? We can agree on that, right? Like we are not leaving 2 more turns. This is probably our second last turn, right?
Yeah.
Can you do that? Okay. Since we have established that, means that we have to win the turn after this, right? So this will be our second turn. I mean, this will be our second last turn. Then the next turn will be our last turn, right?
Okay.
Okay. With that in mind, we have to kill him the next turn. So this is something you have to take note, which is now, right? If we do give our leader 2 Dawn, doesn't that mean that we wasted 2 Dawn? Okay, so I'll explain the math now.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound magical.
I need the math for this.
Okay, it's gonna sound magical, Okay. Now our opponent's leader is 7k, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
My Sakazuki can attack his leader for no commitment at all, for 1k counter, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were to give 2 Dawn to Sakazuki and he swings at the leader, he's asking for 3k counter, right?
Okay.
Okay. But now, if I gave 2 Dawn to my leader, it's only asking for 1k counter of 7,000 now. There's no reason to make 2 bigger attacks than to make 3 smaller attacks. Because the math doesn't add up. I give 2 Dawn to my leader, it's only asking for 1 more k. If I give 2 more to my Sakazukis, it's asking for 2 more k. So why would I do that when I can give my Sakazukis? You know what I mean? So this is something you have to take note, especially when you're playing against Newgate effects or Newgate leaders. Something you really have to understand, because this goes into the part where just now, right, why we don't want to attack the Namis. As you can see, right, after that 1 turn, the Namis gave Dawn and then to swing, right? After that turn, the Namis hasn't been doing jack shit.
Yeah, no, they've just been sitting there.
Yeah, so this is also something you have to take note, is that cards that cannot swing for a higher attack, right, will eventually be we call it a Dawn tax lah. It's basically like now, if I play Dawn the new gate means that your leader has to give 2 Dawn to swing. But unfortunately for me, you have 2 Sakazukis which they are not taxed at all. So instead of getting taxed, you would much rather try to swing for bigger attacks with the Sakazukis. Make sense?
It does make sense. Okay.
So that's the math behind it lah. There's no reason to give the leader. You much rather try to swing for bigger attacks because we've already established that this is our second last turn. We just have to survive next turn and then try to go for game the following turn.
Okay, so you're thinking 9-9 with the Sakazuki?
9, 9. I think 9 and then by 11, I think. Right? If not, we have 2 more dons active. Because we just give 2 to our Sakazukis, then the 4 remaining, right?
How about not playing Borsalino?
Or if you want, you can do 10-10. But like I said, I think attacking for even number guards don't necessarily make a lot of sense.
Okay, fair. All right, so you're thinking.
Because if you swing 9 by 11, right, essentially means that the 11 will definitely go in. Because he's not countering 5. He might counter 3, but he's not countering 5. Make sense? The 5 counter is 2-2-1. The most efficient way to guard is 3 cards. But if he attacks for 3, it's only 2 and 1, which is only 2 cards. So 2 and 1, he might counter, knowing that you might kill him the following turn. But if it's 2-2-1, he might definitely not counter for it.
Okay, so. All right, so we're leaving up 4 here for Borsalino. And then we have these other 4 here. So 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're thinking, so 7, so 9 and 11?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
And if he eats Red Hawk here, if he Red Hawks the other Sakazuki, then you can still give 4 Dawn to your Garp, because at this point you don't have a choice, right? Then if you give 4 Dawn, it's still swinging for 3k counter, which is also quote-unquote a magic number, you know what I mean? Because we're asking for 3k counter, which is also very, very good lah. But this is something to play around so that we can, don't... Yeah lah. I mean, we have to make full use of whatever situation we're in lah. Alright, so I'll counter this because it's cheap.
And then at this point, it would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, who cares? So then here, swing in.
Yep, then I'm definitely not countering 5, so I'll take it.
And then drop the Borsalino. Yeah, okay.
Alright, then now you just have to pray you survive so that you can kill me next turn, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Still at least having the 1 life up. It's a good little safety net.
Right, now I have to think how to kill you. If this swings for 6, are you countering here? 6, counter 3, swing for 7, eat, block.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. All right, let's see. So that, if you decide to go in, it'll be 15. If I take this hit, I lose that one. If you decide to go all in somehow with Diablo
Jambe.
Yeah,
Jambe is 15.
Yeah, you used to be at 15. See, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that wouldn't work either because I would.
Alright, so now it's a lot of the math on how you can counter this. So let's say, okay, I personally don't believe in playing around Jambe, especially when almost like 99 Luffy decks don't play Jambe at all. So personally, I won't play around Jambe. If I'm that afraid of Jambe, I don't think I have a choice anyways. But if I have to play around Jambe, I'll probably block this. But knowing that, you do have to do some math whether if he doesn't have Jambe and we block this, right, can we still block a split? So what is his biggest split? He's probably giving the Dadan 2, which will make it 5-5, and then he's left with 8 Dons, which means that he can give 4 to each, right? Which would be 9 by 9. Which essentially means you have enough. 9 by 9.
Yeah, but why wouldn't... So let's say I block here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, here at the... Yeah, never mind, you're right. Because show the 1 life. I was going to say, why wouldn't you just go all in?
Yeah, but you're planning on blocking here so that we can play around Jambi, right? There's something to take note also. It's a lot of the math lah, but you have to...
Yeah, now I have to block here.
Okay, but if you block that, then do you lose to some sort of Makino nonsense?
It's definitely a possibility. I've run into that before. It's annoying, but it's just it is what it is.
Alright, now I need to think whether I can kill you or not. If I play down Newgate here, can I survive? That's the question. How big is 5 by 5? You give 5 is 12. 12 to 7 is 6k counter. Well, I definitely don't have that. Hmm. Well, I don't think I have another play.
It's a 6. Could be Rush Luffy. Doesn't really matter. Let's see, 6. Be 1 here. If I take the hit, you could do 1 there. 5, see 5, 6, 8, 9. I have to ditch 3 cards for that. Jeez Louise. But if you do 3, I can ditch 2k counter. Yeah, no, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that one. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm confident. I can take this.
I mean, I don't have Makino nonsense, but this is my best line of play. So, yeah, I think just counter, right?
Mink, mink, mink.
Also, right, there, right, you have to take because if you threw 3 cards there, I think there's a possibility that if your last card was a brick, you might die to double. Makino plus 1, I think. I'm not sure. 6 is you die to 1 Makino, if I'm not wrong. Would you? 6 dons, 4
Yeah.
to Dadan, 1 Makino. Okay, no, you wouldn't. Yeah, you would die to 1 Makino.
It's always the Makinos. They're always the Makinos.
Right. Okay, so right, you always opt to take that because if you guard, right, you'll be too how do I put it? Constricted lah. Your the way that you can counter out the next few attacks will be too constricted because you have too little cards in your hand. Does that make sense? And if let's say you bring maybe a radical beam here, it might change the game as well. So we always opt to take this damage here instead of trying to counter lah. Cause your hand will only be 1 and then he can swing for 3, and then the Makino will swing for another 3, which essentially means that which will lead to you not having enough lah. But in this case you do lah, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. All right. Let's see. I would swing with Sakazuki at leader, and then just test the waters. And then
Wait. Swing for Sakazuki first for 7. Okay, so now right, you have to take into account whether you can play around cards like Red Hawk.
okay.
But
Just in case. Yeah.
and also you have to think whether he can counter out a Saka or not. So what I'm thinking is maybe you make the Saka a little bit unguardable first, and then if he takes Red Hawk, then we give everything else to our leader. Okay,
Gotcha.
so this is how you should envision it, right? Let's say we don't give Dons to Sakazuki. Swing for 3. He's definitely countering that, right?
Okay.
And if he does counter that, means that you only left with 2 attacks. And then if you are to split the power then, and if the first attack he takes and he eats Red Hawk, that means you're fucked. You're doomed. It's doomed. You cannot win. But now, if we swing for 5 first and he opts to take it because maybe he can't counter, and he wants to bang on a Red Hawk, then at least you have another attacker and you can give the remaining Dawn to swing to play around Red Hawk. Make sense?
So you're thinking just do 5, 5 the
Yeah,
leader.
we give 2 to Sakazuki to guard for 5k, yeah. Cause it's a little bit too big for him to counter.
Hold up. Say that
I
again.
mean, we give 2 to our Sakazuki to swing first.
Okay.
This is what I'm thinking. Cause okay, if good players, right, lah, if they know that their out is to eat Red Hawk, most likely they have to counter this attack, right? Because their out is only Red Hawk. Their out will be to counter this, and then the second attack swings, and then I Red Hawk.
Is the hope is Red Hawk? Yeah.
Right, but there's this how do I put it? There's this factor that they might not want to counter this and they just fumble and then they flip the Red Hawk first. And then in that case, you can just all in the Garp and then swing for 13.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. So here.
So in theory, this is also playing around Red Hawk lah. In theory, but if my out was only to Red Hawk, I have to counter this lah. But I can't even counter this lah. So yeah, then at this point you just dump everything to sucker and swing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah.
I mean, if I have it, what can you do, right? I mean,
yeah, if you got it, you got it. That's it.
alright. Obviously I don't have it. I only have 4. Right. I think we have a few things that we can take note from this game alone. Firstly, I think you wouldn't have reached this stage if we were too concentrated on trying to clear the board, right?
Yeah, it's very fair.
That's
Yeah.
one of the first things that we have to take note is that maybe playing Garp. I understand that it's so tempting to always just try to clear the board, but you have to understand sometimes that we still have to go with our normal win condition, which is to develop boards and then try to push for game. I think that's very, very important. You cannot be done. Like when you told me, what are you gonna do when I drop the new gate down? You tell me you want to pop the new gate. Now I'm just thinking like, okay, you pop the new gate, but when are you gonna win? Like, sure, the new gate's gone, but you're at 1 health, and then I still have a board of Namis and Dadan, so yeah, what are you gonna do if I just,
I killed
so
your
that's
new
also
gate. Like, new
I mean, yeah, sure.
new gate's dead.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, but you have to understand that it's not always about just trying to clear the board. It's more of like we have to play to our win condition, which is also to kill the guy. And that turn, right? Let's say if we didn't play Sakazuki on 6, instead we played Vista and Garp. The outcome might have been different because the Sakazuki on the board did a lot of work. It swung for
Yeah, it
7,
did.
it
Yeah,
swung
it
for
did.
7, and it swung for 9. So these are some things that you have to really like you have to play to know when the Sakazuki will matter, like building a tall board instead of trying to go wide. Because that is your win condition. On games that you cannot counter out, on games that it's a little bit slower, like let's say our opponent, if he didn't play down Newgate, if he had other things to play down, maybe it would have been different. But in this case, since you were already expecting Newgate, playing down a slower game would have been okay. But these are obviously because how I put it is like more of your game experience lah. I've been there so many times, right, that I know that the switch is turned on. I look at
Yeah.
my hand and I was like, okay, I know I don't have much turns left. I have to try to put on my opponent in a spot and try to kill him. You know what I mean? And these are factors that really, really help, especially when you're trying to make the decision to go for game or not lah. Because sometimes you cannot just be sitting there and say, oh shit, like it wasn't even close. But you didn't even play to your proper win condition to actually try to find your out lah, like the way out. Because like what you told me lah, the deck can change, but the mindset can't change, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, cards that are dealt to you, sometimes you just have to play to your best of it. You cannot choose the cards you want to draw. And the best of it was this game was to really just play down Thor and try to close out the game as soon as possible, like, which is exactly what you did. You know what I mean?
I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay.
So these are a lot of things that you really need to take note, especially when you're playing a off meta leader. When you're playing an off meta leader, it's more crucial for you to not make mistakes. Because every mistake, like let's say a meta deck, right? Every mistake they net you a 1 step behind. But since you're playing an off meta leader, every mistake you make might make you 2 steps behind, which is so much more detrimental. You know what I mean? Like I'm all down for playing new and like meta decks or different decks because I also don't like to play like the same old deck every week. But if the ability to do so, right, just means that I cannot fumble as much as what my opponents can be doing, and at worst, I have to make use of what my opponent can misplay with. Does that make sense? Like
Right.
them misplaying, I have to capitalize on it and really try to punish them for it, like maximum. If not, I can never get the lead. You know what I mean? I can't be playing off meta leader just to be behind all the time. Doesn't make sense. I need to have some sort of edge.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's why the deck building plays a big part as well, like having to counter and so on and so forth. Also, I think in this game, I know like we only saw like one what was this, one Tashigi. Maybe it didn't have mattered like if it was like a dead card, but I think you see the importance of 2k counters in your deck, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
you will
definitely.
understand,
Yeah.
like you will understand that sometimes you really, really need to have more counters in your deck so that you can counter out more efficiently. Because the games do usually they do end up this close where they might not have enough, they might have enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, it's by inches, you know. Might not have the one.
Which
Might not have the one.
all right. You want to run the Zoro matchup? I think the Zoro matchup is like way tougher for you.
Yeah, let's give that a go. Let me close out this thing. All right. All right. This is yeah. Okay, I got the coin flip. Do I want to go first or second? Um, I would probably want
I
to go
think you did.
first.
I think you did well going second just now, though.
I definitely thought about going second. But I'm gonna go first. Yeah, we'll see how this
Okay, you
goes.
can try going first. All
All
right.
right, let's see.
So
I'm gonna keep this because I have the Vista, so I can drop the Vista to kill off a Sunny Coon or something, and then after that I would have the Borsalino and the Garp. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that. We'll see how that goes. Okay,
all right.
that's my whole turn. Intern. Intern. All right, so Curly comes out. Nami. Okay. I would swing here for 5.
All right, I'll take that.
And then I would Vista here to kill the Dan. And now I have some board presence.
Okay. That turn, right? Maybe I would have played on Garp.
Play down the guard.
Mm,
Okay,
okay.
okay, okay.
Mainly because I think you only get punished by Vista. But apart from that, let's say if he doesn't have Vista, you're in a more winning position. Because let's say right, if we do get to play long Garp, it just means that the following turn we can actually give 2 down to the leader. Give 2 down to the Garp, pop something off and still play Vista.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
It'll be a little bit more dawn efficient, but if you're playing around Vista, I can see why. Because if he Vistas you, it's quite a pain lah. But
Yeah.
I can see why we can play Vista here. Then maybe from then, like from now, right, the Garp in our hand is just gonna be a 2k counter lah. No reason for the Garp to come down already, I feel. Because at this point, if we want to do it, because okay, Garp's really strong for your turn. Like if you start second, it's turn 1. If you start first, it's turn 2. This is his like strongest turns because
Yeah.
after that, right, every moving turn, right, you essentially have other things to play down. Like your 4 down turn, you want to play down Kuzan, you want to play down Borsalino.
Yeah.
Your 5 down turn, you also want to play down Kuzan, you want to play down Borsalino. 6 and up, you want to play down Sakazuki. And then after that, when can we actually play down a Garp? You know what I mean? More of the time, if we have
Yeah.
more down, we will much rather to play 4 core stuff. So if we're not playing Garp this turn, then when are we gonna play down a Garp? You know what I mean?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So it's definitely something to think about. But if against a red deck, obviously I know that the concern is that Vistas, right? Such a pain, but so I think it's fine to just not drop Garp here as well. So I think it's okay.
Nami-kun or Nami something. Sunny, you okay? Ooh, Nico, okay. Let's see. So, hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would swing Garp into leader, Kobe kill Nico, then I would drop the 2-cost Garp. That's what I would do.
Okay. I think it's fair.
Hey, okay, all right, let's give it a shot.
Okay, wait. But let's take it through first.
Let's think it through. Let's think it through. Okay.
Okay. I think it's really fair to do that because we kinda want to be most dawn efficient with our turn, right? Which is to play 3 and 2, right? Okay, so now let's not assume what our opponent is gonna do. I want to know what you would do with your 7 mana turn. What's your strongest turn, the 7 mana turn? If you're playing Gup and Kobe this turn, of course.
So let me see. I have 5. So the next turn you would have 6. So now I had 7, and then Um, I would with 7. I would probably drop Borsellino and Tashigi just in case Whitebeard makes his way out, because then I can rest her, don something up, and then drop Sakazuki if I need to, or if Garp survived, use him to kill, because Kobe would have been to kill her off. But there's really you have to jet pistol Tashigi to kill her because she wouldn't be rested at any point, and at that point it would threaten Whitebeard. So you probably wouldn't want to do anything until you got her off the field, at least Whitebeard wise, anyway. That's what I'm thinking.
So, so you're thinking if we play down Kobe and Garp this turn means that our following turn it's Borsalino Tashigi,
Yeah, what I haven't handed yet, Borsling with Tashigi.
which means that my Garp is not attacking next turn, and my Kobe is also not attacking next turn.
Probably not.
Cause they. Oh, okay.
Probably not.
Honestly, sounds a bit weak.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so right, what I'm thinking is, this turn if you play down Kobe and Garp, it's not weak at all. By all means, it's quite a strong turn. Honestly, it's better than playing a Borsalino down because we do develop 2 bodies on the board.
Okay.
All right, but the biggest issue is that if I develop these 2 bodies on the board, when is my Garp gonna do work? I think that's my first question in mind. Is that if I really want to do this, my Garp has to do something the following turn. I understand that our deck is a reactive deck. I mean, it's kind of putting you in a spot, telling you that what can you expect to do, not knowing what our opponent is gonna do because our deck's a reactive deck, right? But you have to understand that when we can make full use of Garp is also efficient lah. Like it's also crucial to winning with Garp. You know what I mean? Like I said, any mistake you make here is quite crucial for you to win or lose the game. So with that in mind, you have to understand when Garp's effect is able to go off and what can be popped. I know it's very simple to pop because against Zoro all the deck is small stuff, right? You just give 2 to up and then you can pop anything. But
So I know Sunny King's coming out next turn, so it's like.
So next turn, if you give 2 Dawn to your leader, if you give 2 Dawn to Garp, character, right, and you have to pop something, you only left with what, 5 Dawn? What are you gonna do with 5 Dawns? 1 to Kobe, 1 for Borsalino. That's it, right?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't attack a Borsellino just yet.
No, Borsalino's not coming on the board.
Oh yeah.
Either we are playing him down yet. Either we are playing him down next turn or we are not. So it's just something you have to decide. So maybe next turn, if I want to play down Borsalino, I probably won't play down the Tashigi, so that I have more Dons to play around with, so that maybe I can give 2 to the Garp and then 1 to Kobe, so that my Kobe can do work. If not, there's no reason for me to develop Kobe this turn, right? Not no reason. More of like I want to make full use of my Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking. You have to make full use of your turn, your Dons next turn, knowing that you still have a Vista on the board.
Okay. All right. So you're thinking what? Swing with Grandpa, and then.
And then
Kobe.
we and then we Kobe up. Yeah, I think it's fine. We pop the Robin, and then next turn we can reevaluate what we're gonna do. But if I were to ask you, right, your Kobe dropping this turn, what will you discard here? 2K counter?
I mean, to be honest with you, normally I would just get rid of Sakazuki at this point. But I would probably get rid of Tashigi. Thinking about it, so I do have the 2 Surus, so both of them can still threaten Whitebeard. It's just having Tashigi on the field means Whitebeard takes longer to get to the field versus like Suru. You know, you still play him and I'd have to kill him because I mean he has to die.
So you would discard Tashigi?
Yeah, probably it was Tashigi or Sakazuki, but if I know,
I think we want to kill the Sakazuki. I think.
Yeah, just because I know we're getting to that point in the game where you're going to bring out larger characters. I need somebody that can combat larger characters.
Yeah, so I think keeping the Sakazuki is fine. Also, so let's say right next turn we don't want to play down Borsalino, we still have the option to play down Sakazuki, right? And I don't think we are that low in health to be like afraid to die. So I don't think we I don't think we need to discuss Sakazuki just yet. Like I understand maybe if our hand is full of non-counters, okay, sure, but at this point I think it's fine to keep him for now.
Okay. So I'll probably get
Right.
rid of Tashigi. Alright, so we'll attack here, do this. And then here, use, get rid of, kill, play, deploy, and turn.
It's just that this turn, right? We've wasted. Okay, not wasted. We've used up 3 cards from our hand just to set up a stronger turn next turn, and we have
Yeah.
to make full use of the next turn. If the next turn is not strong, right, we are fucked.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing. That's a threat.
Okay, now I have to think. If I Vista you here, are you fucked? Okay, let me think. I play on Brooks here. Brooks gives 2. I Vista for 3. I left with 1. Play on Sunny. It's fine.
Cool. I'll take it. Shit. Okay. Do I use it to kill anything? No. No, I want to save it for the defense later.
Really?
Thinking, yeah. Yeah, because then...
I think it's I'm quite on the fence as well because I feel that if you use it now, it just means that the future turns we don't really have to leave Dawn up to use, right?
Yeah, but another thing is like you can't play around it. Is my thought. So like future turn, if you have Sunny, Brooke, Nami, and you swinging on life for let's say 8, right? I can just use Impact Wave, still defend life, and then kill off the character anyway. But like at this point, I would just be killing off the character.
Okay, so now you have to think about whether we want to use this trigger now or not. Is that which turn, right, can I have 2 Dawn active so that I can use Shockwave?
Yeah, because we have
I think
seven,
that's the
nine.
biggest concern we have.
Uh,
Because,
yeah,
because let's say if Garp doesn't get KO'd here, essentially means that next turn we will be tapped out as well. Right?
yeah.
So when can we use this shockwave? That's what I'm thinking. Because if we don't use it now, then are we really keeping it for our turn 9 turn? You know what I mean? And then what if we draw Newgate? Then suddenly we still can't use shockwave at all.
Yeah, no, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. All right, so I'll
So I
use
think
it.
yeah, I'll probably use it to pop the Brook.
The
So
Brook.
that next turn he has lesser pressure. Yeah, instead of the Nami. Because Nami is only very, very efficient if they have Magras, right? If they don't have Magras, then it's whatever.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll just pop this.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know, so
All right, so here, let's see if I go 2, 3. Yeah, so I would go 2 here, 1 here, and then have the 4 up for Borsellino. Or I could go Sako. Now I don't really want a Sakazuki yet. Do I? No, because the next turn you have 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks. Stop 1, 2 of those attacks. Yeah, so I probably just want to go 5, 5, 5, and then Borsellino. What do you think?
maybe we play Sakazuki without using the effect.
Without you,
There's
whoa,
a chance.
without using the effect? Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Okay, so here's my take on it is that if we drop the Sakazuki without using its effect, right? Essentially we're just playing now a 7 mana body, yes. But we cannot afford to pop anything now because every card in our hand now is quite crucial for our late game plan.
Okay.
Like to survive. And then if we really want to use our Dons to attack, we can actually use it next turn because we will have more Dons next turn by playing down Borsalino and we have 5 Dons to work with. Essentially means that we not only are we establishing a bigger body, we are also trying to make full use of our dons the following turn. Because if we develop the Borsalino here, it might be a little bit too weak because the Borsalino can only maybe get one free block.
Okay.
But I think playing the Borsalino down is fine as well. It's just in my head, right? When is this Sakazuki gonna come down? When am I gonna start making work with him? The only reason why I won't use the effect, like I said, is because if we do, our hand size will be too small. And
Yeah.
it's really KOing a 3k body here worth it for one card, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And next turn, right, if we are facing down a barrage of attacks, we might need to throw Borsalino away for 1k counter. Just so that we can try to survive the following turn.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. All right. So we're doing. Okay. So what do you think? 5 and 5, and then drop Sakazuki.
Oh, actually, if we do 5x5, right, we can actually do Sakazuki and drop Radical Beam here. If we want to. Because keeping the Radical Beam for next turn might not be efficient. Oh, I'm tempted.
Drop the
Okay,
Radical
what I would
Beam and what? Kill off Sunny Kun.
yeah. Okay, what I'll do first probably is my leader will swing first to see what our opponent does. So that we can decide whether, cause let's say maybe if I throw 2k counter here, maybe you might want to attack with Kobe, you know what I mean? So that you can try to extract, because if I throw 2k counters here means that okay, so I'm not sure whether you've played Zoro or because I think this is something like you have to play the deck to actually understand why they have decided to throw 2k counters. So essentially, right, this just means that if now you're swinging for 1k counter and I have to throw 2k, means that I'm saving 1k counter cards,
Right.
right? So these 1k counter cards, you have to go through your mind. You have to think, what cards is this guy trying to keep? Because if he chose 2k counter, there's only two reasons. The first one being that he doesn't have 1k counters, or he does. And if he does, just means that he's saving these 1k counters, and you have to go through the motion, right, to think that what 1k counters is he keeping in his hand. So take into assumption maybe like Magras, maybe like Namis to dig for like events or Zoros, or maybe Dadans, you know what I mean? Like these are the kind of things you have to take note when your opponent is countering, when he's attacking for 1k counter and he drops 2. Because if I have 1k, why would I not give you 1k? Why would I give you 2? Makes no sense, right?
Right.
Unless I don't have, or I want to save certain cards. So these is always things you have to take note. Especially when there are situations where your opponent, instead of giving you 2k, like let's say you swing for 6, instead of giving you a flat 2k counter, right, he gives you two 1k counters. Then you might be thinking, wow, why is this guy, does he really not have any 2k counters? Should I just swing for 6 again? Or is he just trying to keep cards? Because it's something that you can exploit, you know what I mean? If your
Right.
opponent gives you two 1k counters swinging for 6, then obviously instead of swinging for 7, we can swing for 6 again, try to exploit him for more cards, or in fact maybe push him down to a lower threshold, you know what I mean? So this plays a big part into like hand reading, or like what your opponent can have or cannot have, so that you actually get to what you call it, like narrow down what your opponent has or have not. So like previously, right, I didn't Vista you, because I didn't have, and there's no reason for you to play around the Vista, because you would know if I had Vista, I would Vista straight up. But because I didn't, you would just assume that what are the odds that he got it from the life or the top of the deck. You know what I
Right.
mean? So these are things that you have to take note, especially when you're competing at a higher level. Uh Okay, so for this 5k, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, seeing that I take it, right? What's the play? Do you swing for now one, or do we keep one for Radical Beam?
And at this
Or
point, I'm swinging for one more. See what you do. Dropping Sakazuki, getting rid of Radical Beam to take out the Sunny, because at that point you would have 1, 2, 3 attacks next turn, and 1, 2, and then these two would be enough to save me for one of the attacks if I needed to. That's what I'm thinking.
but I don't think he's killing you next turn though. You think he will kill you next turn?
The possibility of the threat could be there, depending on. Yeah, because what he'll have 3 bodies, and if he drops a rush Zoro, It's definitely possible that he can try swinging for 4 attacks. Because then
How I see it, right, is that let's say if your opponent counters the next Kobe attack, right? Uh he's in no fear of dying because his hand size is 7. If he guards is 6 lah. He draws a turn for 7, he plays another card. At best his hand goes down to 5 with 2 life on left. There's no reason for him to go for game. He can just play out another turn. So with that in mind, right, you shouldn't be too concerned about dying next turn. I understand that it might be a threat. There's a potential threat that you might die next turn. But how I see it from the Zoro's perspective is that I think it's very tough for me to go for game because if I were to put you on a 2-turn clock or even a 3-turn clock, you might even eventually lose as well. So why rush into things, you know what I mean? Why would the Zoro want to put himself in a position where he might lose? When in this position he can just slowly grind you out and then kill you eventually.
Okay.
So how I see is that I don't think he's in any rush to like kill you. Most of the time he'll just try to extract resources, swing you for 3, and then kill you the following turn. So I think that's something you have to try to vision when you're fighting like decks, like aggressive decks like Zoro, so that because I think more often than not, let's say if you were to expect maybe your opponent tries to kill you, right? Then when he doesn't, then you suddenly be like, oh shit, he didn't try to kill me. Then what am I gonna do with all these like active dons or like cards in my hand? You know what I mean?
Fair.
So that's also something you have to take note when you're fighting a more aggressive deck that puts you on the clock. Instead of just thinking like, okay, you cannot kill me next turn. You know what I mean? Because for sure, if you yourself think that you cannot die next turn, I assure you, your opponent doesn't think that he can kill you next turn. Yeah, so you shouldn't put that. You shouldn't have that thought in your mind that if you can't kill him, I mean if he can't kill you, then he would think that he can also kill you. You know what I mean? It has to be convincing that he thinks he can kill you. You know what I mean?
Fair.
But I think to fit our game plan, I think our Kobe has to attack. So I will probably ditch the radical beam as well.
All right, let's give this a shot. Let's see here, swing in.
Alright, I'll throw 2K counter.
And then at this point, deploy, use, get rid of. And then yeah, just see what happens. Okay, what's the next move?
Okay, I'm at 8 Dawn. Does the Kobe on the board matter? Don't think it does. Alright. I think you're in quite a pickle. You have to think whether you want to drop the Borsalino or not, right? Or dropping 2K counter here.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I'm dropping the Borsalino. I feel like I'm just gonna say I'll take this one, because then the next one's gonna be more.
If the next one's gonna be more, then shouldn't we always counter this one?
I like Borsalino. All right, that's fair.
No, but we can throw Suru away, right?
Yeah.
No reason for us to hug onto the Borsalino, I feel. I mean, no, sorry. No reason for us to overvalue our 2K counters. I think we have to keep Borsalino because there's a chance that we might go down to 0 this turn. So that at least we can play down the Borsalinos.
All right, Suru.
Six, 7.
And then I would just take that one. Okay. Kuzan.
Drawing Kuzan here is rough.
Yeah. Not the best, but you know, it could be worse. Could it? No, it couldn't. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Alright, so I swing for 6 here. I think we have to counter this, right? In
Oh
case
yeah,
we
yeah,
see another Zoro.
yeah. I'm definitely
And
because
if he
yeah,
doesn't have a Zoro, then it'll be good, lah. But unfortunately,
got the Zoro swing for 7. Yeah. No blocker. Resolve. Okay. All right.
okay,
Okay.
that's quite a good draw. Seeing the second blocker. Okay, I'll just pass and then
Let's see.
Okay, so now your hand is 2 blockers and 2 bricks, right? What's the chances of you surviving next turn?
Oh yeah. I'm definitely surviving. Um,
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, I'm surviving. Cause I'm killing off your board. I'm killing your board. Your board's dying. Okay, so you
Okay,
have nothing on. Like you only have Magura. Okay, and
okay, but
then
that's just 2 attacks, right? If I draw Rush Zoro, aren't you like doomed?
not if I have. Okay, I got my two block. I have my two blockers. And block
Yeah.
1, 2. Yeah, no, I'm definitely yeah. If you get a rush zero, I'm screwed. But if you don't, then I'm in a good spot. Yeah, I'm in a good spot to win it. Because yeah, if I had Tendon, then I could play Kuzan and get a draw. But I kind of am not there. So yeah, 4, 6. Yeah, so I have 3 down to play with. Yeah, I just have to kill off your board. Or do I want to swing at life? Or do I just want to say, just call it a game? Let me see.
I mean, it's just the math behind it, right? It's either I draw Rush Zoro or you try to go for game, right? Because
Yeah.
you're in a dilemma, right? It's either you kill me or I kill you next turn. So um I think if that's the decision, I think the first step is to actually swing at the Zoro first, right? Because that's the hardest target on the board, and we don't really have anything to take it out.
Yeah, because I would do Sakazuki into Zoro. If I got 3 extra, I would probably do, I would do 2 under Sakazuki to make sure Zoro dies. And then,
Oh, 2 to Sakazuki is a lot.
yeah, but I
Uh,
need to kill Zoro. Like, I can't, he has to die. Cause I'm thinking I have three Dawn to work with, right? So 3 free Dawn.
counter,
So
count.
I would do the 2 here. So Zoro definitely dies. Use Garp to attack Vista. You're going to let it die. And then I could do Vista into Nami. See if you counter out. And then Kobe into Nami to really kill it. And then drop Borsalino and Bart. At that point, you have no cards on the field.
And then we try to go for game next turn, right?
Yeah, as long as I can survive this turn. Because I could also put down Bart and then just give Bart 2 Don to make him a 5K blocker, but that would really only work against like nothing. Because at that point, he's just a larger body that stops nothing. Or,
Okay.
yeah.
Let me ask,
Okay.
let's say you give 2 to the Saka. The Saka swings at Zoro, the Zoro dies, right? No way, no reason for the Zoro to counter for him, alright? Okay. Okay, so the Zoro dies. My hand doesn't change. Okay. Now the Vista is gonna swing at okay, the Garp is gonna swing at my Vista for a 3K counter. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I would need to counter for him. Makes no sense because uh unless my whole hand is guard, and if it is guard, means that I will probably counter for the Zoro for 5, right? Okay, to put you into perspective, let's say if my whole hand is counters, um 5K 9K swings at my Zoro. If I have to throw 3 cards away, my hand left with 2 cards, right? Which means that you're left with 1 Dawn, you have to give 1 to the Kobe, I think, swing at the 0 for 1. The Garp swings at my 0 for 1, hoping that my hand is all counter. And then Vista swings at my Vista and then play double blocker, which essentially means you're gonna die lah. If my whole hand is counters. Correct?
It's a possibility.
Hello?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a possibility. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this is the possibility if my whole hand is filled with counters. Okay? Okay. Let's say my hand, I'm not gonna counter anything. Okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna let everything die. Okay, if I don't counter at all, I'm just gonna let it kill my whole board. Then let's not put into perspective that my hand, if I'm not countering, means that my hand has Zoro lah. Okay, but if my hand doesn't have enough counters to counter for the Zoro, because essentially is what I'm needed to win the game, right? Then isn't it the same if you go for game? Okay.
Yeah, so I need
Let me
to.
let me try to further explain the situation. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say this turn, the vision that you have in your head is that, okay, Sakazuki clears the Zoro, leader clears the Vista, my Vista clears the Nami, and then I have one more Dawn, maybe my Kobe can swing at face, right? Okay, that's the best case scenario, and then he'll probably throw 1k counter just to counter the Kobe, right? Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. That's the best case scenario. You play down double blocker, and then next turn, he doesn't have anything. He draws for turn, and then he just swings with Magra, swings with the Zoro, and then next turn, back to your turn, you have to go for game because there is no way we can survive, right? Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
Like next turn, and so far nothing has changed apart from the fact that he threw 1k counter and he drew for turn, which means that his hand will still be 5. He still have 2 life left, and nothing changed. Your board didn't change. Like it's just the Borsalino and the Bartholomew die. You just have one more Dawn to work with. So what's the difference between going for game this turn and going for game the next turn? It's just one more Dawn, right?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Then if that's the case, then shouldn't we try to go for game here instead of trying to buy one more turn? Because in theory, it doesn't make any sense to go for game the next turn as well, because he would still have the same amount of cards and he would still have the same amount of life.
Yeah, when you put it that way, yeah, when you put it that way, you're correct. There's really no point.
Right? It makes sense. Right? I understand. Like, okay, you buy out one more turn, but in the long run, aren't you just like prolonging the death? Like
His
you're
death,
just
yeah.
dragging out the loss
His death, yeah.
in card advantage, lah. Because that's how it looks like. Because if you really do clear the board now and then you try to set up blockers, it doesn't change anything for the board state. It's just the board dies, and then next turn you're still looking down at another attack. And if at any given moment, if you just rush Zoro, you're fucked. So how like, no, with that knowledge now, how would your line of play change? Does it like make a little bit more sense knowing that maybe you have to try to go for game here, even though it sounds very very not possible lah, but looking at it like from the next turn, right, I don't think you have much of a choice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is it really like realistic enough to say that, okay, how about I go for game next turn when I know that playing now the Borsalino is gonna die, playing now the Bartholomew is gonna die, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just there to die at this point.
Yeah, so like, will your line of play change if knowing that you're probably not gonna survive the following turn, or maybe that one dawn would matter? Like, will having one more dawn to swing for game matter? Then okay, then sure, maybe we buy for one more turn. Hopefully he doesn't draw Rush Zoro. Then maybe we can close out the game. Because if that one dawn does matter, then obviously we will try to buy one more turn. If not, then I think going for game here looks like the more logical thing lah. Even though we are looking down at hand size of 5 and 2 health, but like I said, even if we survive next turn, his hand size will still be 5 and his health is still at 2.
Yeah.
So we have
Okay.
to do the math. So I think we just have to do the math to see whether it's enough.
So 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Crap. So see. Let's see, 3. So I go 3. Go 6. 6. 7, 9. What about 6, 6, 7, 9?
6, 6, 7, 9. If you swing for 7, 7, 7, 7. Okay, generally, right, I don't really like swinging for 2 because 2 is so easy to counter.
That's fair.
If I want to swing for 7, right, my Sakazuki can just swing first and then see what happens. Like if the first 7 attacks and then if he opts to take it, right, then I can split between I can do 9-9, right?
6 to 7 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Right?
9.
He eats the first 7, then we can do 9-9 optimally. 5 by 4, right? 5 to
Yeah,
Kobe, 4 to Leon,
yeah.
which I think is much better than splitting for 7-7-7 first. So initially, let's say if the correct play was to really swing for 6-6, 6-6-7-9, right? If that was the correct play, then we always want to give one don to our Garp first to swing first so that we're not don committed. However, in this case, since we are swinging for 7 first, there's no way we are giving 3 dons to our Kobe to swing 7 first right, when we have the Sakazuki to swing first. Make sense?
Yeah.
So this is what don commitment is. Basically, if we can attack for free first, why not, right? So that we can further evaluate what's our play next turn or later lah. So this is something you have to take note, especially when you are deciding on how you want to attack. Because let's say the first 7 connects, then there's no reason for us to give the remainder of our dons to our other characters, right? We can just make 2 bigger attacks, and hopefully he doesn't have enough,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay.
right? So in this case, I think the Sakazuki swing first, and then we see what happens. So, cause if he can counter this, he's definitely countering this, cause it's quote unquote one of the cheaper attacks, correct? And if he doesn't counter this, then we just make 2 big attacks. If he counters this, then most likely we will do 7-7-7 if I'm not wrong. Like the math is, yeah, we will probably do 7-7-7.
Alright, so here, here.
Alright, so I'll just take it.
And then
And then now you can do 9x9, right?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Okay, so then here. I mean, I guess like finish with that one. So what? So no, no, no. I was gonna say attach 2 here, swing for 5, ditch 1, but that just be a 1, and that makes it easier. So now would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have to do 3. Yeah, okay. All right, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, we always give the leader so that we don't get taxed for Vista, right? If we give Vista, we are losing out 2k counter, right? Cause if you give Vista, it's 3/1, but if you give leader, it's 5, which is 1k more,
Ah, okay.
right?
I see what you mean.
Yes, so that's the math. I don't have enough lah, cause I only have 4. But
Okay.
I don't think any person will probably go for game there. But after I explain to you, the math works out, right?
It does. It does make sense. So I got to sit
Right?
back
Cause
and evaluate it a little bit better.
yeah, so you have to try to see your next turn and then see what happens. Cause in fact, right, maybe this turn, right, if you didn't actually attack my like let's say you didn't go for game, maybe I would have drawn 2k counter off the top and maybe I would have enough. And I did have the Zoros in my hand lah, but obviously this is one of the few situations that you have to put yourself in to know that you have to go for game here instead of thinking that I could just try to survive for one more turn. Because if after explaining to you that the card advantage doesn't change and it will be almost the same situation, just that you might have one more don to do with, then it wouldn't have mattered, right? Like might as well just go for game here, knowing
Yeah.
that if he draws Zoro here, I would just lose. Or if he have enough counters to counter for the Zoro, then I would just lose. But if he does have enough counters for the Zoro, then essentially it just means that he has enough counters for his face as well. So if he does have enough counters, then regardless, I think we just lose no matter what. So I might as well just try to go for game there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So these are just the few things that you have to think about when you are fighting, like I said lah, especially when you're playing a little bit off meta, when you are playing a deck that is not really favored against like the meta decks, you really have to try to pull out tricks that people don't really expect, like, you know what I mean? Cause
Yeah,
I tell
yeah,
the truth, no one goes for game here. Right? No one will go for game here. Makes no sense.
yeah. No, I wouldn't have either. I mean, obviously, just like why would I do that?
Yeah. So it's obviously something you need to evaluate because like maybe if your hand had instead of drawing Kuzan and drawing Smoker, maybe if your hand was 3k counter, I might actually try to clear the Zoro. And then I try to clear one of the Vistas, and the rest of the attacks will probably try to go for face so that I can set up a 2-turn clock. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because knowing my hand is only 2 blockers, how am I gonna? I have no choice but to have to clear the cheaper stuff, right? Because if they swing for 1, I'm fucked. And that's the reason why we wanted to clear the whole board. But because of that, we can't. And then it has forced us to try to go for game, which is something that when you're competing, you have to evaluate at that point whether going for game there or whether surviving for one more turn is always better. Because in One Piece in general, I think once you have been playing a lot, you will realize that, hey, if I can do the safer play, I can survive one more turn, why not? Why
Right.
go for game? Right? And I think you have been in those situations, right? You just thought that I can go for game, but if I can survive one more turn, why not? Just
Yeah. Why
survive one
not?
more
Yeah.
turn and winning next turn anyway. So yeah. These are just some of the few things that you have to take note when you're playing One Piece. Uh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I really don't have enough counter. I'm not this is not for show. I really don't have enough. My hand is pistol, Zoro, Gordon, Newgate. Then I'm just like, oh, shit, if he goes for game here,
So yeah, because you
I
just never know. Yeah, that's the I guess the big mystery. You never know what's on the other side of the card. So it could be
yeah, but
you could just win.
But obviously, competing, you have to take your best shot, right? Like you have
Yeah.
to take your best options to try to win. This is honestly this is one of the games where it's actually quite informative lah to know that you always have to try to take your out to play to your outs lah. Which I think it has shown lah throughout this game and the previous game that you play to your outs. Yeah, don't tana too much on trying to clear people's ball lah with Garp.
Yeah. Okay. So don't always try to just kill everything.
I mean, if it helps to our win condition, yes, sure. But you also have to realize that we have to win at some point, right?
Yeah.
Our win condition, yes, but the game doesn't say that, oh, okay, if the opponent doesn't have a board for 2 turns, I win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's the win condition, then sure, I
That'd be
will play to
fantastic.
the fact that I have to top the board. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's not the win condition we have, and we have to win games. So
No, that makes sense.
yeah, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but generally, okay, so like you said, you're going to one of the treasure cups, this coming week, right?
Yeah. The
I
next
assume,
weekend, I think it is.
I assume you are playing Garp lah, since
Of course. I've only played Garp OPO
Right.
too. Only Garp.
Let me go and look at the card list again, so I can maybe give you some sort of insight okay, give me a moment. Okay, looking at the list, right? Apart from the Vista, I think I wouldn't add anything else. Maybe Garp.
Oh, a 5 cost Garp. Yeah, because he just becomes a nice blocker.
Very tempo.
Right.
It's in fact negative tempo.
Yeah, no,
But
that
obviously,
definitely, yeah, it's a lot. It's a big
and obviously,
investment.
if I need to give Dawn just to pop something with Meteor Volcano, essentially means that I need to give 4 Dawn to pop a 5 cost, which means that I need 6 Dawn to pop a 5 cost. If I'm doing that, I might as well play down Sakazuki.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And Sakazuki develops a board, so like you know what I mean. So I understand the importance of Volcano. It's more of like in my mid game, right? Am I really using him to pop stuff? So this is something you also have to take note. I know like it might look very delicious, very tempting to just pop stuff straight up. Like, okay, I need this to get off the board, pop it. But you also have to realize that if I pop it, am I winning in the next few turns? Can I make use, like if I were to use Kobe instead of Volcano, at least the Kobe on the board can swing. You know what I mean? Like in this case, let's say if you didn't play down Kobe, you had to play Volcano, then it would have been it would have a different impact, you know what I mean? So this is all something that you have to take note, like how to play out a little bit tempo centric. In fact, right, maybe even cutting Newgate might be correct because Newgate is, even though I didn't see it for the past two games, personally I don't really know how impactful the Newgate is because when I play Newgate down, I feel that I'm so Dawn constricted. I don't have any
Yeah.
other things to do. I don't have enough Dawns to lay. And let's say if I do start second, sure, I have radical beams now. But apart from that, when you know what I mean, like it's
Yeah.
so not as impactful as what people think it's to be. Like if I was playing Zoro, sure, but we have Sakazukis, we have smokers. So what's the point of playing Whitebeard as well? I mean, this is something that you have to go
No,
and
I've definitely I feel the same way a lot about Newgate. Just because like, what am I going to do with this guy? Like when I play him, if I'm not in a good position, life wise, just a dead card.
yeah. So it's something you need to evaluate as well. Like maybe we can even play down other cards like Garp. Like in fact, right, I feel like maybe 10 cost Kuzan might be a little bit better. Like if comparing to Newgate, of course. So if you already know that you only have the privilege to play down Newgate when you're ahead, correct? Which means that if I'm already dead ahead and I have a choice to play down 10 cost Kuzan, why not? Because the 10 cost Kuzan, if I'm dead ahead, maybe in the future my Sakazuki can pop other things as well. So this is also something you can try to incorporate lah. But like I said, I think I don't really like so many deck cards in my deck. If I have a choice, maybe honestly, I think you can squeeze in the Luffy, the 2 cost Luffy. I think it's fine. It's not fantastic, but like it
This one,
develops some sort of tempo. Yeah, it develops some sort of tempo lah. Your late game curve might be a little bit too weak. I can see that, but I think it's okay. Then maybe your last 2 slots I can squeeze in Garp. I think this is a little bit more early game centric as well. Cause like
hey, I got a new
how
Garp coming. That looks cool.
I 5 mana
Nice.
7k.
So throw this one in.
Yeah, I'll probably play 2 of this. So what's our day card counters? 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 4, 11, 11 plus 2. So we've trimmed it down to 13, which means that we have more things to counter. I feel like the Luffy, right, in the Garp deck makes a little bit more sense because starting second now, apart from our 2 cost Garp, we can actually play down Luffy. And it can still swing with our stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
The only issue is that it has to give Rested Dawn. So the only like quote unquote combo would be like maybe I have to play down the Garp next turn. And then give 2 Rested Dawn and then Kobe. Sounds like a lot lah, but you know, I think it's fine. I mean, I think you can test a little bit more. Maybe against like Zoros, it can be a little bit more like I feel with the Luffy, you fighting Zoros might be a little bit easier. Yeah, then with the Gups, right, you can fight mid-range decks a little bit better as well. And sometimes, in fact, maybe cutting one smoker for one more Gup might be better, but it's a give or take kind of thing. It's depending on which one you want to see more, you know what I mean? Because essentially they're both of the same cards. They both have the same impact in a way. Cause they're both tempo cards. It's just that one is 5 mana 7k and has double break, which can go for game, and then the other one is just popping stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good question. Which one would I rather see more? Usually, I want to see Garp over Smoker because I'm like, when I play Smoker, he does nothing the turn he's played, but Garp does something immediately.
Like, cause for me, if I've already seen the importance of having 4 Sakazukis, then the only reason why I want to up my Gup count is because I feel that I might not see my Sakazukis. You know what I mean? Cause in a very, how do I put it? Okay, the difference between Gup and Sakazuki is that Gup's 5 cost, right?
Yeah.
And that when you fight against Whitebeard, right? Starting, okay, so let's say he won the Dairo, he's going second. Means your turn, okay, so basically his turn 2 is 4 mana, he's playing at most, right? Or Frankie or Luffy lah. 4 mana 6k vanillas, right?
Yeah.
Then on your 5 mana turn, if you play Garp and you KO the 4 mana vanilla, you're suddenly ahead in tempo. But you can't do that if you only have Sakazuki.
I see.
Which
Well,
is
okay,
quite
that makes
insane.
sense. Yeah,
It's
makes
quite
sense.
insane lah, if you ask me. But this is obviously a meta read lah. If I expect more Zoros or more like aggressive decks, maybe I cut one smoker, I will play one more Luffy as well. just to squeeze in one more 1k counter and one less deck card. In fact, if you really want to, you can run more 2k counters because we are disregarding the fact that Garp is a 2k counter lah. Because most of the time we are playing him down. But
Yeah.
this is just something you can take note so that you can tech versus the meta. That's what I feel. Let me see if there's anything else I would add in.
So about one less Vista, just 3 Vistas, and then Garp.
I think it's okay. I mean, like I said, personally as a card gamer, I think you would know as well because you played Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yeah, like GOAT format though. So
Don't worry.
my childhood
I've played
days.
Gold Format. Yeah, same. Like few years back. I think 8, 10, 12. I don't know. It's been years like Gold Format. Yeah. I mean Light Lords, right? Okay. Anyways, okay. So similar to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I think it's more of the reason why if I could play like maybe 2 offs or 3 offs, if it's not a must-have, I might shave 1 or 2 so that I keep my deck a little bit more consistent. And I know this is not gonna be a little bit of the math. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But sometimes, even though I play like maybe 3 Garps and I see like 3 out of 3 times, I might shave the Garp back and then I play back another card. Like it comes down to you having the how do I put it? The feeling it's not a lot of the math. It's more of like if you feel like you can draw it, then okay, sure, just cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are some players that top tournaments playing Zoro, right, with only like 2 new gates in their deck. And then you ask them why, then they just say, oh, it just feels right.
It
But
just
like
feels right.
mathematically it's wrong. It's just wrong, right? But if it works out for them, then sure, go ahead by all means. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm telling you. Like you have to play out physically and get a right feel of the deck and then really finalize what you want to do. Because now right I can tell you, okay, this might be the list that I will play for whatever treasure cup they're playing. This is like if I were to play Garp, I'll play this deck. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't fit your playstyle, if it doesn't suit what you can do, even though it's the best for me, it might not be the best for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So this is something you have to really go and trial. You have to go and find it out yourself because like all my advice I can give you and everything, obviously it's informative for sure. Whatever advice I give you, like adding the vistas, adding in maximizing radical beam, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, you yourself you have to find a in between where you're comfortable, right, to identify whether you are okay with playing the cards or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like I said, for me, I feel Sakazuki's a 4, Kuzan's a 4, but if you see them too much, you can cut them out. Maybe play like I can give you some examples. Like maybe you can play Hina if you want. I
I've
think
been
Hina's
thinking
fine.
about Hina. I've definitely been thinking about Hina because like she shuts down a whole second attack.
Yeah.
She's
So I
so
think
annoying.
if you really want, you can play down Hina. If you really want, you can squeeze in like 2 mana blockers. You can play in the what is it called? The I think Suru. Suru is also 2 mana blocker. I think I don't know. The TD one.
Which
Yeah.
one?
You get 2 mana blockers, like 2 mana 2k blockers
Oh,
for black. Right.
Rogi. This
Yeah,
one?
either or like yeah. If you feel like your deck is lacking blockers, you can even play blockers like to suit your playstyle, like these kind of things. It matters, you know. It's not like I said. I don't think all deck lists are fixed lah. As you can see lah, you have an inventory of Garp lists lah, right? You can go and see like the pros and cons of each deck, and then really try to identify what really suits you a little bit more. That's my best advice I can tell you lah. Bringing Garp to the event because, like I said, we can expect Zoro, we can expect Law, but at the end of the day, if our Swiss we only fight Whitebeard, then it's doomed, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing much we can control.
Nothing much you can do about that one.
Yeah, so it's really something about you trying to get a good feel of what your deck can do and try to play to the maximum lah. Like push, how do I put it? Limit test lah. You have to push the boundaries a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you have to really try to quote unquote cheat out wins, in a way.
Oh yeah, no, that's one of the big things that with Garp is like people don't know what to expect. Right? It's like
Right.
they haven't seen it. Like they have to read the leader. Like if you have to sit down and read my leader and say, "Oh, what does this do?" I know I'm about to win. I'm about to pull out a great victory here because like you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. So it's like when I'm like, oh yeah, that's like -3 cost now. They're like, oh what? What happened? Where? Because you didn't they didn't factor it in. So for me, like a lot of it is just like I played this one guy and he was a very cool guy, but I guess he never played against like black at all. He was playing Kaido. He just tried to kill Borsellino like 3 times. Like he played King. He tried 10 drop Kaidoing it. He tried to do it with something else. I was like, yeah, he doesn't die. He tried to attack my life for just 5, and I was like blocked with Borsellino. He was like, hold on, what? I was like, yeah, he's 6,000. So it was like just everything. He was just like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? This was like round 2. So we were both 1-1, but it was just like, I guess he hadn't played against black, so he was trying to kill cards. And he was like, I don't know what's going on. So when I play against people that haven't played against me, like I played this one guy the day before at a locals in Texas, and he was playing Doflamingo, and I was able to squeeze out the victory. Right, I cheated it out. The next day we met in like round 5, and he got me because I was like, he knows all my tricks. He knows my tricks. So it's like he knows what's coming. Like he knows it. So it's like if I play you once, I could probably get you. Twice, maybe, but 3 times you figure it out. You're like, oh, okay, this is what's coming.
Yeah, so I think obviously, okay, with that in mind, right? I think the biggest takeaway is that you yourself need to know what's your deck's capabilities. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, so that you can actually try to figure out whether you should push for life or go back for board control.
Right.
Like just now, like we went through, I think something that you could have picked up was that sometimes that we don't really have a choice, we have to go for game. And similarly, why we had to develop a taller board. So these are all things that you have to take note as the gut player, because if you yourself don't know what your deck does, then how can you try to cheat wins, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is something that you really have to try to understand a little bit more, especially when you make the deck. Because like I said, now we're running 12 2K counters, right? Initially when you showed me a list of 8, I was like thinking, wow, then how are you gonna counter our attacks, right?
Yeah.
Like the list is so greedy. Like I can't be just sitting there and thinking that my opponent is not gonna attack me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So these are just a few things that you have to take note, especially when you are playing the deck.
I think I figured it out. Are you ready for this? This is gonna blow your mind. You ready?
Okay, sure.
3, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3.
uh,
You see? Now I got the. Yeah. Yeah. I think that. Yeah. That might. That. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I won't cut Borsalino to 3 if I'm putting in Hina. I might cut Hina to 2 and then play the third Borsalino. But then,
That's all.
I
That's
might.
because yeah, there's a 1K counter I'm getting rid of. That's fair. That's fair.
Then if that's the case, if I'm cutting Sakazuki, I might cut the Garp for the Sakazuki because I believe Sakazuki's supremacy.
Okay. See, now
Then
we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Okay.
yeah, then I think this is fine. I think then you have to test it out because sometimes, right, you might miss the Kuzan. I understand. Okay, so
I've
just now you
never
were telling
missed
me.
Kuzan. I have never once missed Kuzan. To be honest with you, I have never been like, oh man, I really wish I had Kuzan right now. Ever. Never said
Okay,
that.
so okay, so
Like, I
I'm
wish
going
I
to
didn't
give my
draw this.
perspective on it. I might give my perspective on it on why you might miss Kuzan. Okay.
Okay.
You know how just now you were telling me, okay, I want to pop the new gate. I'm gonna play Tashiki down so that it can threaten new gate. I'm gonna play down Suru down so that I can pop the new gate. Uh, you don't have to do all this if you have Kuzan.
It's fair. Fair. Okay, that's fair.
Right, so that's what I mean by you might miss the Kuzan, is that sometimes you have to pressure the opponent so much that they have to pistol the Kuzan. And if they do that, then we're happy with that because
They're not playing new gate. Yeah.
yeah, and we already net a +1 from Kuzan, right? So essentially it's a ±0 lah. If he pistols that, it just means that we net a +1 because they have to waste a pistol on it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
So essentially is so this is what I mean by sometimes you might miss the Kuzan. Then if you really do miss the Kuzan, then I might cut Smoker for it because I think that with the addition of Hina with Garp, I think your mid game is quite solid because Kuzan's not an early game card. Kuzan's a mid range card. It's more of your mid to late game kind of fuel. And during your mid game, when you're already lacking cards, you really want to see Kuzan so that you can net a +1, you know what I mean? So like maybe your 8 Dawn turn, you can play like Kuzan and then you draw the Borsalino out of top. Then that's so good, you know what I mean? You just have another card in your hand. So these are things that you have to take note of. But I think it just all comes down to you testing out the deck to see whether it works for you. Uh yeah, cause you might tell me like maybe you're lacking late game juice because it looks like you don't have a lot of late game, right? But from how I've been sharing with you, I think the deck runs solely based on like the Sakazukis, the Garps, the Kobis, and then really try to last long enough to play down your blockers lah. And
Yeah.
uh
Okay.
and if it really doesn't suit you, I think you can cut Bartholomew for Chopper. I really think the Chopper might play a little bit more of a impact compared to Bart. But I think you have to go and try it for yourself because like you said, you were the one sharing with me, telling me that sometimes the Bartholomew comes from the shield and I'm lacking 1k counter.
Yeah.
But I mean, if those games really do happen, I think sure by all means it just happens to be like that. But you shouldn't reach that kind of stage, you know what I mean?
That's
If
fair.
I'm being pushed out all the way and I'm lacking 1k counter, I understand that that can be considered unlucky. But most of the time you wouldn't be pushed down so heavily that until that you're missing counters. Because Chopper in the curve right fits your deck a little bit better if you can see it, like for your curve lah in general. Compared to a 2 mana blocker. So okay, so previously, let's say we were playing Barts instead of Choppers, right?
Okay.
Now you get to play Chopper. So with 2 Dawn usually we get to play Bart alone, right? But now
Yeah.
you get to play Chopper and you have 1 Dawn for Radical Beam.
Yeah. Okay. Let's double up the defense. You're right. Huh.
Right. It's just that you're taking away the fact that he doesn't have 1k counter. So obviously this is something that you have to go and try yourself to make sure that maybe if it's too breaking because uh like I said, okay, this is not gonna be like a math thing, but mentally I think that if you are too concerned about the fact that oh shit, I don't really want to draw Chopper, then putting in the Bartholomews inside is fine. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just that there are certain situations where the Chopper might play a little bit more impact than playing Barts. Yep.
No,
Because
that makes a lot of sense.
I don't want you to go into a tournament Swiss 8 and then you feel so uncomfortable with the deck yourself, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit, like Skye told me to play Chopper, but I really wanted to play Barts. Then I'm like, it's okay.
I'm a tweak the hell out of it. I, my last life was Chopper, and I needed Bart. It's Skye got me. Skye got me. And then you can be like,
Yeah,
damn,
so,
bro. Damn, bro.
so these are the things that I don't want you to go into a big event like having such a mental deficit. I want you to go in feeling good, telling yourself that the deck's great. You've done your playtesting, you've done well, and you're confident with the deck.
Oh
Especially
yeah,
when you're
yeah.
playing like especially when you know that you're playing an off meta leader. So the important thing about this whole thing is really to go in confident, go in strong, know what your deck does, and at worst try to scam some wins. You know.
Oh yeah. I got 2 weeks to figure it out. I got 2 weeks to figure it out. So it's none of it's set in stone, but definitely having a thought process behind all of it's a big play for me. Like, okay, this makes sense. I see what he's talking about here. This makes sense. So if I'm taking cards out, I know why I'm taking the cards out or why I'm adding a card. What's the plan for the card? Stuff like that. Yeah, this is
So generally, I think Garp is a very, like I said, honestly, I think Garp's a very tempo oriented deck. Mainly because of your leaders, right? Is okay on paper. It's just you give Dawn, you swing for bigger, and then because of I'm swinging bigger, it means that I get to pop stuff off because they're suddenly cheaper costs, right? So,
yeah.
uh, that's what the deck is supposed to do. On paper, of course. Obviously, you playing it, it's not as smooth sailing as it's supposed to
Not
be.
always. Not always.
Yeah, so we always try to play to the win con, but we don't tunnel too much on trying to pop everything. That's my best advice I can give you because uh before this session, when you came to me telling me about you wanted to pop this, you want to pop that, I'm just thinking, okay, but when are you gonna win?
It's gonna kill it all, kill everything. But yeah, the question of when do you win is yeah, I definitely found myself asking that question. I'm like, all right, now how do I win?
Yeah, so I think that's very, very important. So you have to kind of set up a few turns ahead, knowing when you can go for game and when you can actually try to close up the game. I think that's very, very important, knowing that you're bringing up to an event. I think if you fight any green deck, I think it's quite a free win. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, green's kind of iffy. Sometimes it can be a pain because everything just keeps getting rested and it's just annoying. Resting my Garp, attacking, killing my Garp, resting Kobe's, but it's just one of those things.
I think it's fine. But yeah, but okay. So here's a tip. Okay, so if you were to look at this Garp deck now, okay, I know at the start of our session I was berating the deck. I was telling you like Garp's not working out. Uh,
But now you're like, hold up. Oh, this guy's on to
no,
something.
no.
Yes. Yes.
Tough. Right.
Yes.
So now I'm gonna ask you. Okay, now you look at the deck list now, okay, and then now I'm gonna ask you: is really playing these 14 red cards really the game changer between playing a mono red deck? Yeah, like on a very competitive level, of course. I know that you have a dying passion for Garp, undying passion for Garp, so I understand where you're coming from. But from a very competitive standpoint, right? If you were to look at the deck, you kind of have to give the pros and cons of whether playing a dual class leader is that am I really benefiting from the red cards? You know what I mean? Having it.
See that question there. That's a very just bad question. See, here's the thing, right? Like it's not
Uh-huh.
about so. And I say this to you, and I say this to anybody watching.
Okay.
Playing Garp is not about the red cards that are included in the deck. It is about maximizing Garp's ability to make everything a low cost, to maximize on top of the maximization of that, the ability to destroy everything. So I say all that to say, I'm killing everything that's on the field. And that's the goal, is to kill everything you have. Because playing smokers is just silly. Like smokers just a bad, it's just a bad.
Doesn't
It's just
doesn't do
bad.
much, right?
It doesn't. And we can all
I know.
agree that if
Yep.
Garp had 5 life, he would be the best leader in the game.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I agree.
you know,
They don't even need to make it. They don't even need to make it a dual leader. It just needs to be mono black.
yeah, if he's just mono black with 5 life, he would
Yeah.
he's everything black needs. There's
Yeah.
no need for manipulation cards at that point.
Exactly. But obviously, to take it in a positive light, the reasons why we're playing the red cards, obviously, so we're playing Chopper because black doesn't have one cost blockers. Playing Radical Beam because Radical Beam's a little bit overtuned.
There we go.
Uh,
See the good parts here. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
then we're just playing Vista because Vista is good in the local, I mean the generic meta lah. Luffy, I'm not too sure. I think you still have to test it. But to me, it sounds a little bit better versus bot centric decks lah. But this is just how do I put it? When you're making dual color leaders lah, or any deck in general, you always have to identify what's the point of me playing the deck when I'm playing, especially at a competitive level. You know what I mean? Like you like let's say I'm a competitive player, you can't imagine me bringing a deck that goes in the field of Zoro and Lost and then saying that oh it just scoops to these two decks, but I win everything else. Then what's the point? I know everyone's gonna play Zoro, I know everyone's gonna play Law, then what's the point of bringing a deck that beats everything but the meta?
That's fair. That's fair.
So this is something as a competitive player you have to take note of so that before you actually try to make a deck or actually bring an off meta deck, you have to have some sort of like leverage between the meta decks and the off the meta decks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean that's how I
Yes.
see it. I mean
No, I mean, yeah,
unless
that
I'm
makes sense. It just
unless I'm going there for fun, I'm like okay, so let's have fun. I'll just jam my Uta raid deck. But yeah, you have any other questions? Or
no. I'm gonna play some and then get my mindset right. Oh,
I mean, if anything at all, you can always just drop me a DM. Be it like maybe your deck list or maybe like gameplay in general. I can always give you extra. It's fine. Just let me know. Obviously, I'm fine with giving you advice. It's okay. But yeah, I think if you don't have any other questions, I think that's it for me.